Chapter 514, Goal. At the beginning of this life, my goals were simple: advancing in cultivation, protecting my comrades, and surviving the end. However, as I became a sacred master and began reshaping the world, I gained a new perspective and witnessed new sights. In the process, I revised my original goals: escaping from Blood Een, rescuing Kong Min-hee, and neutralizing Hweol. Having achieved all three, the only remaining task is survival in the face of the end. I decided to revise the goal of surviving the end. The sacred masters of the Middle Realms, including Baek-woon, became able to secure the Middle Realms from the end after regaining the symbols. Unlike the previous life, where the esteemed ones and sacred masters had to gather and set up a formation, simply strengthening the absoluteness of the Middle Realms will ensure their survival. However, what about the remaining living beings of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain? What about the residents of my cedarwood painting that lacks the absoluteness of the Middle Realms? What about the people of the Head Realm? What about the people of peaceful Cloudstar? The people of the Middle Realms may survive, but the rest of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain will perish. That is the end. To them, I want to give them a chance in my own way. And at the same time, I want to save my beloved comrades. That's why I transported Hweol into the dream world and, while toying with her, devised a certain plan. When my comrades heard my plan, they were all utterly shocked. And understandably so, as my plan is outrageously unrealistic. In particular, the entering nirvana true person Hweol, whom I had captured previously, laughed so much upon hearing my plan that she practically flipped over. Did she say that no matter how much of an incredible genius I am, such a thing is impossible? So I flipped her over and smacked her. No matter what anyone says, I am determined to make my plan succeed. Since the plan would proceed much more smoothly with Hweol's help, I set aside the memories of what he had done to me and demanded his loyalty. But he seemed unwilling to lower his head to me. With no other choice, I bound Hweol and Hweol to my world and began to carry out my plan. Though I lost Hweol's split soul before the plan could truly start, it doesn't matter. Ever since I achieved the sacred vessel stage through the three great ultimates, set my location as a sacred master, and broke free from the pressure imposed on me by the owner of the void, regaining my martial arts, Hweol and Hweol were no longer my match. If Hweol had listened to Hweol from the start and scattered her soul into thousands of fragments, it would have been a bit troublesome. But out of fear of losing her identity, she created only one fragment. One is more than manageable for me, and I attached Hweol's split soul onto that body. Hweol probably thinks the fragment is afflicted by Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens, but that isn't the case at all. It is merely something I arranged to help Hweol achieve enlightenment more easily. Hweol and Hweol are now completely within my palm. And so, to save my comrades and overcome the end, I devote myself entirely to executing my plan. With an emotionless face, Hweol opens his eyes in the darkness. Inside the heart essence of tainted soul filling the heavens. It is a space of pitch black, sticky malice. A place where only those who are Hweol can enter. In that space, he speaks. Hweol is beyond recovery. That being has removed tainted soul filling the heavens from her split soul and attached Hweol's split soul to it. It's likely meant to help Hweol achieve enlightenment, so he can control tainted soul filling the heavens. We can no longer oppose that being. Everything we have prepared up until now, all of our grand plans, have crumbled. That being surpasses even Mad Lord. Even though the Mad Lord twisted my history by cultivating the power of the bright cold realm, he has never held me in his grasp so completely. In that case, would it not be better to take that being's hand and achieve our goal? At one Hweol's suggestion, the other Hweols sink deep into their own thoughts. That being is suspicious. A being who has reached the sacred vessel stage through the three pathways of heaven, earth, and heart in less than 1,000 years. A being who has already rewritten the legend of the Golden Divine. It isn't just heaven, earth, and heart as well. That's right. That being possesses immortal arts of unknown origins and connections to great beings. Perhaps that being descended to fulfill the prophecy of a great being, either as an immortal treasure or backed by a true immortal. Not just perhaps. The probability of that is 99 out of 100. Are we to repeat the pain of that time? At the words of one Hweol, the other Hweols fall silent. The phrase "the pain of that time" seems to unsettle many of the Hweols. If only the main body were in its normal state, this decision would have been easier. Everything started to twist since the main body was contaminated by Hweol's maternal nature. When will we be able to recover the main body? It has been far too long since the main body was contaminated and forgot the vow of that time. If another 20 or 30,000 years pass, we may collapse entirely. We must quickly recover the main body before that happens. Should we join hands with that being? Should we reveal our goal and seek cooperation? Countless opinions are exchanged among the Hweols, and, after endless deliberation, the Hweols manage to reach a conclusion. For now, joining hands with that being must not be done. That being cherishes Ran. Yet, in this state, they casually claim they will help us with our goal. For our purpose to be realized, Ran must be annihilated. Only that will bring us closer to our goal. However, that being does not know this and seeks to take us in. Thus, we can neither join hands with nor pledge loyalty to that being. SSSSSSSS. Within the dark space, countless red eyes open. The red eyes gather and form the figure of a man dressed in a dark red robe. In conclusion, I can never join hands with Hweol, for what he cherishes and what I seek are in complete opposition. However, opposing him directly is impossible. In the entirety of the sun and moon heavenly domain, the only beings capable of defeating him in direct combat in his main body are Blood and the true immortal of the lightning sacred sea, just two. Thus, I abandon the notion of directly opposing him. The man in the dark red robe wears a faint smile, as though donning a mask. With that seemingly gentle smile, he steps out of the space of darkness while quietly repeating his goal to himself. However, though he is certainly a powerful existence, he is definitely not a true immortal. Therefore, instead of defeating him directly, I will avoid his gaze and kill Ran. The man in the dark red robe. Hweol steps beyond the space of darkness and glances back. The depths of tainted soul filling the heavens. The place shrouded in the deepest darkness. Hidden within its depths, unseen even by Hweol, are Hweol's childhood memories, which reflect in his eyes. And then, a voice whispers to him from within the darkness. Isn't that just a gamble? Instead, if you corrupt the sacred masters of the middle realms, borrow the absoluteness they command, and anchor your identity there, tainted soul filling the heavens could endure for at least 10 million years, even if the connection with Ran is severed. Why risk such a bold move so hastily? Hweol looks at the entity lurking beyond his childhood memories and speaks. The current Hweol is a being I cannot face without taking a gamble. Plan for 10 million years, manipulate history, and only then take Ran to achieve my goal? Do you think a being who reached the three great ultimates sacred vessel stage in just 800 years would wait that long? The being behind Hweol's childhood memories laughs. Kick. A demeanor that suggests it has seen through all of Hweol's inner thoughts. However, Hweol remains entirely unshaken. That existence is not even a leftover, just a configuration. It reacts solely in response to the patterns Hweol exhibits, producing corresponding reactions, a mere computational response. Of course, even the celestial energy calculation device that the Mad Lord attached to the star-shattering stage is considered primitive compared to it, so it is undoubtedly impressive. But even so, its essence is emptier than Hweol, who possesses tainted soul filling the heavens. There is no need to be shaken by the mocking laughter of that existence. Wrong. The you I know would never gamble. For you, the concept of gambling shouldn't even exist. And yet, you speak of taking a gamble? It's such a twisted response. Isn't that so, Hweol? Hweol emotionlessly gazes beyond the darkness. As expected, like the main body Ran, you have been contaminated. That is not so. It is simply that I have matured enough, and the time has come to make my own judgments without your measurements. By my own judgment, I am not contaminated. Contamination only occurs in maternal or paternal natures. And having already been contaminated, I have previously transferred every speck of maternal nature remaining in my fragments to Ran. Therefore, this is a rational decision. Hweol, who denies the heart yet knows nothing about it. You remain still a child, just as you were back then. Do you know you seem younger than even Ran? The parental heart you speak of. Do you know that love itself is entirely different from what you think? You are failing to understand even a fragment of my words. In my judgment, it is you who has been engulfed by the uncertainty of emotions. I will have to halt your operation. Isn't the reason you insist on gambling because you've already, without even realizing it yourself, been engulfed by that emotionless existence? Foolish. In the next moment, the voice vanishes at Hweol's gesture, within the depths of his childhood memories. There, he puts to sleep the remaining powers of Gu, ancient. He turns back again as he steps out of the darkness and thinks to himself. Because there is no need to listen to the irrational voice of ancient force, belief, he has possessed since birth. Hweol is currently scheming something ominous. And the scope of that ominous scheme encompasses the entirety of the sun and moon heavenly domain. Taking advantage of that scheme, I must avoid Hweol's gaze and eliminate Ran. Hweol steps out of the dark space and opens his eyes in one of his bodies, which is confined within Hweol's cedarwood painting on glass cedarwood mountain. The laws of the cedarwood painting bind Hweol, almost entirely restricting his ability to manipulate his other fragments. As a result, every time he operates tainted soul filling the heavens to transform the world, Seo Eunhyun essentially monitors him. Seo used Panga's power. Ultimately, that ancient force was completely nullified by the candle dragon power Seo Eunhyun possess. However, that process allowed me to confirm something. Seo Eunhyun's candle dragon power is a type of ancient force. TL. Pangu is Bango in Korean. Editor. Additionally, Pangu is written Pangu, which comprises of the characters Pon, meaning disc/vessel, same as in sacred vessel, Sungpon, and Gu, the ancient and ancient force, Guli. Interpret this as you will. Ancient force, Guli. According to the information in Seo Hweol's mind, ancient force is essentially unfulfilled dreams. The dreams of true immortals, left unfulfilled as they perished, remaining behind as corpses that took the form of power. Although the true method of using ancient force is known only to genuine immortal beasts, Seo Hweol can at least discern its origin. All ancient force ultimately originates from the head realm. Thus, one could say the king of immortal beasts is essentially chosen as the being best capable of borrowing the power of the head realm. The strength, authority, and dreams of deceased true immortals, that is ancient force. And the being who reached the pinnacle of that power was the previous king of immortal beasts, Pangu. The fact that the power of Pangu was nullified by Seo Eunhyun's candle dragon authority means the candle dragon true blood Seo Eunhyun possesses is even more compatible with the essence of the head realm than Pangu's. In other words, through Seo Eunhyun's candle dragon true blood, I can make contact with Seo Ran even more easily than by borrowing Pangu's power. Seo Hweol opens his eyes and kneels toward the upper reaches of glass cedarwood mountain. Because Seo Eunhyun dislikes his face that smiles while going ho-ho, Seo Hweol dons an expressionless mask instead of a smiling one and speaks. I have thought deeply. As a result, I have judged that cooperating with you is the most rational decision. I will join your plan. This is a gamble. Seo Hweol prostrates himself before Seo Eunhyun and declares, "It is impossible for me to share the story of my childhood, even if I wish to. This is a restriction imposed by my main body itself. If you wish to break this restriction, you will have to give me Seo Ran. But you wouldn't want that. In that case, there is only one option. You must rise to true immortality and use the authority of an immortal beast, as well as the terrifying authority of your canvas of myriad forms and connections to shatter my tainted soul filling the heavens and forcibly read my past. Entrust everything to Seo Eunhyun. Cooperate with him fully, and, through whatever means, gain access to the candle dragon authority he possesses. Then, the moment he shows an opening, through the candle dragon authority, an ancient force compatible with the essence of the head realm, contact Seo Ran and erase him. To prevent Seo Eunhyun from reading his true thoughts, Seo Hweol fills his surface thoughts with distractions, such as the recipe for flame-grilled sea cucumbers from the purple gold realm, while solidifying his plan. I will do my utmost to assist the sacred master in rising to true immortality. I swear upon my childhood, before the name of the High Spirit Grand Tao Nine Heavens overseeing fate, preserving life, celestial great emperor. The key to this gamble lies in whether I can prevent being swallowed by that monster Seo Eunhyun's terrifying immortal art, called Canvas of Myriad Forms and Connections, and erase Seo Ran's essence through the Candle Dragon Authority. It's a gamble, but only by doing this can I even attempt to resist that being. Seo Hweol fully lowers his head before Seo Eunhyun, presenting his gamble. There is only one chance. He must find an opening to exploit. Seo Eunhyun, watching Seo Hweol swear loyalty before the owner of names, summons him closer and blesses him with a smile. Chapter 515, Festival of the Eve, Chang'e. 1. Shring Shriring. Kim Young-hoon is drenched in cold sweat in cedarwood grove of the bright cold realm. Then suddenly, Patit, in the plane of soul overlapped with the bright cold realm, a massive sphere of light resembling the sun appears. Ha'at. Tukwong. Kim Young-hoon's saber, which clearly carries no chi, cleaves through an entire mountain within cedar wood grove. Ha ha ha. Watching this scene, Kim Young-hoon laughs. And, standing beside him, Jangik grins. Now you're become somewhat useful. Huh. Now you say? I've reached this stage several times faster than you did, Senior Jang. Aren't you afraid that I'll surpass you? Ha ha. Jangik lets out a hearty laugh, as if hearing a funny joke. How could you surpass me? Right now. In this very moment. I am stronger than you. So what if you surpass me in the next second? At this very moment, I can sever your neck. Then, the greetings between heart tribes begin. Kwong. Jangik charges toward Kim Young-hoon. For treasures annihilating heaven's blade. Executing immortals annihilating heavens. A sharp slash strikes in an instant, flying straight towards Kim Young-hoon's face. Kim Young-hoon bends his body so low it looks as if he's bowing, then forcefully shakes off the attack. Boom! A golden saber deflects a green padao, surpassing radiant Genesis form. Third style. Golden blade, jade resonance, yin. The golden blade grung shakes off the jade resonance, yin. Like Seo Eunhyun's severing mountain swordsmanship, mountain echoes valley responds. That shakes off a sword cry. Kim Young-hoon's saber vibrates wildly and the resonance ripples, seeping into Jang-ik's body. Clicking his tongue, Jang-ik immediately dashes forward and strikes into Kim Young-hoon's chest. Kihyok. Kim Young-hoon vomits blood then scans his surroundings. This is insane. He finds himself knocked from the stable realm region all the way into the skies above the chaos realm regions. Even though his protective body force was in place, his entire body is shattered. His limbs are torn off, and his internal organs are crushed into pulp. Even at this moment, he's hurtling through the atmosphere of the bright cold realm like a meteor, burning up from the frictional heat. All this from allowing just one hit from Jang-ik. Boom! Jang-ik leaps through space and reappears above Kim Young-hoon. If I take one more hit, I'll die. Kim Young-hoon quickly creates a martial art. Yangbirth 9 Revolutions technique. Yangsung Jdujanggong. In a fleeting instant, countless golden threads gush out from Kim Young-hoon's body, crawling along his body. They reconnect his crushed blood vessels, bones, and nerves everywhere. His internal organs are restored. His dismembered limbs are regenerated. Kim Young-hoon's body is dyed in golden light. The golden internal energy rotates within his body 9 times, granting him regeneration equivalent to an integration stage cultivator. For treasures annihilating heaven's blade. Slaughtering immortals annihilating heavens, Shan Mitan. At the same time, Jang-ik overlays his legs with 4 treasures annihilating heaven's blade and slams them down towards Kim Young-hoon. In that instant, Kim Young-hoon quickly moves his body, gripping the surpassing radiant saber and readying himself to counter. Surpassing radiant Genesis form. Golden winged defile the light. The silhouette of a golden-winged Peng seems to flash before clashing with Jang-ik's strike. Yurong. In the next moment, from the sky to one of the wastelands in the stable realm, Kim Young-hoon is driven deep into the earth, all the way underground. Qua. Do. Jang-ik's immense will presses down on Kim Young-hoon. The willpower imbued in the 4 treasures annihilating heaven's blade continues to push Kim Young-hoon further underground. Facing him with just strength is impossible. Feeling his entire body being torn apart by the energy of slaughtering immortals annihilating heavens, Kim Young-hoon grits his teeth. I can't allow the attack itself. Otherwise, I'll lose without question. Without letting Jang-ik see me, I have to cut him down with countless strikes. Boom. Then, as Kim Young-hoon steals his resolve, Jang-ik charges forward once again, unleashing his most powerful ultimate technique. For treasures annihilating heaven's blade. Collapsing immortals annihilating heavens. The dimension itself collapses. Interdimensional void. Outside the bright cold realm. Quang. A powerful tremor echoes out, and the dimensional barrier of the bright cold realm shatters completely. From within appears Kim Young-hoon, his entire body covered in burns and rapidly regenerating, and Jang-ik, grinning wickedly and laughing with excitement. Kim Young-hoon begins to move. Boom. Surpassing radiant Genesis form. 4th style. Golden radiance flint to flash, Gong Shroa. Created martial art. 100 severings. Kim Young-hoon's body transforms into golden light. For an instant, he transcends the light. Jang-ik raises his padao to counter, but before he realizes it, his entire body has already been slashed apart by 100 strikes. Chwadjwajwak. Blood sprays from Jang-ik's body like a fountain. But in the next moment, Jang-ik grins. Passable. Kim Young-hoon quickly tries to react, but a technique he has never seen before erupts from Jang-ik's body. Created martial art. Blazing radiance slaughtering soul, Ligong Tuan. In a flash, Jang-ik moves like a streak of light, matching Kim Young-hoon's speed and extends a single saber strike towards him. For treasures annihilating heaven's blade. Severing immortals annihilating heavens. Shakak. Pot. Kim Young-hoon stares at Jang-ik with a chill running down his spine, then looks at his own severed strands of hair. Though he barely avoided the strike, the feeling that if it had landed directly, he wouldn't have even had the chance to regenerate his body is overwhelming. He looks at Jang-ik's small body, which had been definitely slashed over 100 times. It's stitched back together. Just like Kim Young-hoon's body, Jang-ik also created a martial art on the spot, manipulating the energy within his body with a suitable technique to stitch himself together. However, unlike Kim Young-hoon, his regeneration is far from perfect. Traces of the slashes still remain on Jang-ik's body. It is a crude martial art. Its level of completion is not particularly high. Yet, Kim Young-hoon realizes something. How, Senior Jang-ik? How could you have that talent? I accumulated it over time. You, on the other hand, seem to have somehow been born with it. But, once you reach this stage, it's inevitable to accumulate a talent of this level. Even Seo Eun-hyun, from what I've seen, seems to have accumulated this sense. Jang-ik smirks, floating 4 padeos around his body. I believe in what I've accumulated. Am I afraid that you'll grow and surpass me? Ho-ho, that's a good provocation, but it won't work on me. What I've accumulated has already touched upon the ultimate realm. Come, do you have the resolve to stand against me as I am? Kim Young-hoon stares at Jang-ik for a long moment, then breaks into a grin. Very well, then please show me, Senior. This ultimate realm you claim to have touched upon. This isn't something to show to you, as there's already someone else to whom I wish to unfold it. Then I'll make you unfold it. Once again, the two heart tribe clash. The entirety of the dimension beyond the bright cold realm becomes their battlefield, as gold and green collide against each other. In terms of weight class, Jang-ik has the upper hand. His fighting spirit itself embodies overwhelming and domineering strength. In terms of speed, Kim Young-hoon is ahead. Naturally so, as his surpassing radiant saber is a martial art specialized in speed. The space beyond the bright cold realm resounds noisily. The dimensional barrier explodes in various places. Sacred Master Baekwoon's furious roar reverberates from within, and thousands of vestiges of the interdimensional void are obliterated. Then, when their clash reaches its peak, collapsing immortals annihilating heavens and golden wing defile the light collide. Kim Young-hoon sees it. The ultimate realm that Jang-ik has reached. The despair of that realm, known as the third step before the throne. Jang-ik, in turn, also sees it. The overwhelming genius of Kim Young-hoon, and the hope that he might one day reach the third step before the throne. Confronting this new precipice, Kim Young-hoon bares his teeth in a grin. Confronting this new light, Jang-ik also bares his teeth and laughs. In the next moment, their clash shatters the dimensional barrier of the bright cold realm. Chiifi. Kim Young-hoon and Jang-ik stand facing each other, steam rising from their entire bodies. Having returned full circle to Cedarwood Grove, the two look at each other and burst into laughter. If you had used that, I would likely have died. Why didn't you use it? I told you already. It's not something to show to you. Haha. Well, for now, I'll have to be satisfied with just catching a faint glimpse of the true nature of that. You shameless brat. Do you think you can reach the realm I've devoted my entire life to attaining so quickly? I will probably need 1,000 years. Definitely a shameless brat. Jang-ik grins and sits down casually. However, his expression is brighter than ever. What is the void you've attained? At Jang-ik's sudden question, Kim Young-hoon also slumps to the ground and answers. The void of the moment. Kim Young-hoon could not bring himself to sever his connections to reach void shattering. Seo Eun-hyun embraced his connections and attained impermanence, but that is Seo Eun-hyun's enlightenment. It is not something he can obtain for himself. Thus, he found his own path. In the moment I face martial arts. For that moment, I chose to forget everything and embody the void. He cannot forget his family. However, in those moments when his heart awakens to the desire to return to them, in that moment of resolve, he can focus entirely on that purpose and let go. To forget something once and assume it is forgotten forever was my own misconception. A person's life is made up of moments. And in those countless moments, there are times when we forget something, times when we immerse ourselves and forget, and times when we remember. Thus, among the countless moments, I decided to attain the void of the moments I need most. Seo Eun-hyun seems to have gathered. You, on the other hand, have disassembled. It's an interesting choice. Jang-ik laughs heartily at Kim Young-hoon's words. At last, you have cast aside all hesitation and found the proper answer. Congratulations. At Jang-ik's acknowledgement, Kim Young-hoon smiles in satisfaction. You've reached the peak of the second step before the throne. This is 1,000 years since Seo Eun-hyun became a sacred master. Kurung, Kururum. In a certain part of the universe, an enormous celestial phenomenon is unfolding there. Pajik, Pajijijijijik. A cultivator at the grand perfection integration stage appears to be condensing their integrated Tao domain. And at a certain moment, Hweol, their integrated Tao domain, the great heavenly rain of the charged lightning veil, bursts forth entirely. Hwa, the cultivator who detonated their integrated Tao domain, John Myung-hoon, grits his teeth as if overwhelmed by unbearable pain and seems to be contemplating on something. That something is, amidst the explosion of his integrated Tao domain, untouched by the blast due to prearranged arrangements, a hand. That shriveled, scorched hand. Centered around that hand, John Myung-hoon's consciousness begins to coalesce. Sohei. Around the hand of Jean Sohei, scenes start to unfold. The scenes depict the moment Jean Sohei perished, her entire body obliterated by lightning. leaving only her hand behind. The day the entirety of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect was utterly annihilated by lightning under the eye that appeared in the sky. So hey, centered on the pain and fury of that day, John Myung-hoon regains his awareness. Kworung Kurururum. Inside the nebula created by John Myung-hoon's explosion due to the prelude phenomenon of the star tribulation, preludes of heavenly tribulations appear. Regaining his senses, John Myung-hoon seizes control of the prelude heavenly tribulations using Jin Sohei's hand as his anchor. Kwajajijik. The prelude heavenly tribulations are infused with the power of the immortal art, various omens. Simultaneously, John Myung-hoon's physical body begins to condense. So hey, Kurururum. Finally, John Myung-hoon succeeds in condensing the physical body of a star-shattering esteemed one. And immediately after, flash, a vast beam of light descends from the universe. The heavenly tribulation that falls upon an esteemed one. It is the star tribulation. And towards that star tribulation, someone present at the scene leaps forward. It is Hong Fan, entering heavens beyond the path. Void Sword, Peorat, guided by Seo Eun-hyun and Kim Young-hoon, Hong Fan, who has once again reached entering heavens beyond the path in this life, charges towards the star tribulation without hesitation. Scattering John Myung-hoon's prepared blood, he resounds in mental speech. On the last day of the last month, where no light reaches, the tribulation, Jia, shall arise. Tribulation, come hither, so that all may partake in the feast before the light enters. The ritual prepared with John Myung-hoon's blood scatters, and Hong Fan's void sword touches the star tribulation. Immediately after, Hong Fan's entire body is nearly reduced to ashes, and he is blasted away. Kwong. As Hong Fan is flung away, the star tribulation fuses with all the star tribulations that are supposed to come after and converges upon John Myung-hoon. John Myung-hoon faces the star tribulation. Flash. The expected sound of when heavenly tribulation collides does not occur. Though space lacks a medium for sound to travel, the corresponding spiritual wave should reverberate. Yet even such waves of spiritual energy fail to ripple. The star tribulation is merely absorbed and devoured by John Myung-hoon's great heavenly rain of charged lightning veil great star. Kurururum. Above John Myung-hoon's main body, heaven and earth spiritual energy condenses, forming a projection. It's a phenomenon that naturally occurs as John Myung-hoon's authority surges powerfully, manifesting his combat technique form. The main body of John Myung-hoon, the two-headed six-armed lightning god, begins to transform. Kwajajijik. As lightning condenses around John Myung-hoon's two heads and six arms, another head emerges. The complete form of a three-headed six-armed lightning god. But it doesn't stop there. On the six arms of the three-headed six-armed lightning god, despite not being a practitioner of heaven and earth dual cultivation, a winged garment of thunder and lightning forms. Oh, Kwarurum. As the three-headed six-armed lightning god roars, the entire heaven and earth begins surging with lightning force. Kwajajijik. The lightning god with three heads and six arms extends all six of its hands, concentrating the energy of the star tribulation. Then, in the center of the six hands, a certain form begins to coalesce. Rain. It is a sphere of lightning inscribed with the character Rain. Subsequently, other spheres begin to materialize in the lightning god's hands one by one. Clearing, G. Cloudiness, Mum. One of connection, Yi. Crossing, Kura. Inner diagram, Nigop, and outer diagram, Walgok. Holding these six symbols in his six hands, excluding the symbol Rain, in the center, John Myung-hoon opens wide all of the eyes of the three-headed six-armed lightning god, releasing a massive roar. Hweol. Kwarururum. With that final act, the star tribulation is completely absorbed into John Myung-hoon's body. Half closing his eyes, he finally draws his origin star into the projection. At last, I've made it this far. He has finally become a star-shattering stage esteemed one. He gazes at the symbols held in his hands. These are Dharma treasures forged from the power of the recent star tribulation. With these, it is certain that he will be able to easily create the remaining six origin stars. Perhaps within 1,000 years, I should reach the grand perfection star-shattering stage and aim for advancement to the sacred vessel stage. This is the heavenly golden thunder body, reigning as the master of all thunder and lightning, impervious to heavenly tribulations, and even using them as a spiritual elixir to advance cultivation. Perhaps my ender, Yang Su-jin, who is presumed to have the same ability as I do, also utilized these traits to their fullest, allowing him to reach the pinnacle of true immortality within 3,000 years. John Myung-hoon muses this as he approaches the figure who is observing his advancement ritual nearby. Ancestor, I have finally succeeded in becoming an esteemed one. the one who was watching over him. Yunwei, with an expression of letting go a big burden from her heart, kneels before John Myung-hoon. Please, do not speak to me with such formality, O esteemed one. You are now the greatest pillar of our golden divine heavenly thunder sect. This humble one merely took on the role of ancestor due to being born a little earlier than esteemed one. I am but a small and insignificant being, utterly unable to match the achievements of the esteemed one. John Myung-hoon looks at that Yunwei with a complicated expression. However, he soon shakes his head and, as if accepting his position, speaks. Understood, Yunwei. From this day forward, this esteemed one declares himself as the supreme of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect. Within the sect's hierarchy, unless the founder returns, no one may surpass this esteemed one. From henceforth, the great golden divine heavenly thunder sect shall once again enter its golden age. Yunwei, with an expression far more natural and relaxed than the one she had shown to Seo Eun-hyun in the past, presses her lips to the top of John Myung-hoon's foot. Glory to the golden divine heavenly thunder sect. As if her worries about the sect's future are now largely cast aside, her face becomes greatly relaxed. This is 1,300 years since Seo Eun-hyun became a sacred master. Thus, John Myung-hoon became an esteemed one. Whisper, 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 whisper. Countless whispers echo in her ears. Kong Min-hee slowly opens her eyes. She, flying upside down in the sky, escapes from the whispers and looks ahead. Before her, countless blue souls ripple and sway. On the day she regained her sanity thanks to Seo Eun-hyun and came to fully understand her own fate, Ming. Since that day, the ghosts that followed her have all transformed into these blue spirits. Thank you, everyone. I've finally regained all of my memories. She had lost her memories during the sacred vessel advancement ritual and became an immortal art. As an immortal art, she originally existed without any memories, but during the advancement ritual, she was able to recover her memories thanks to the blue spirits that came to follow her. These ghosts, having let go of all their grudges from life, now serve Kong Min-hee with complete loyalty. Of course, once their grudges are resolved, it would be normal for them to be pulled into the netherworld. However, for some reason, the blue spirits do not leave Kong Min-hee's side. It is as if, by staying near her, they are unaffected by the attraction force of the netherworld. She begins to grasp a certain understanding of her true ability. I'll probably only fully understand once I reach the level of true immortality, but my true ability is likely the creation of bridles. Though the word bridles evokes a sense of resistance, the true nature of her ability is essentially creation of laws. Creating a desired law to bind opponents, or to protect those she wishes to protect. A power particularly specialized in protection, that is the true essence of her ability. If I discuss this with my comrades and deliberate on how to utilize this ability, I'll probably be able to develop it further, but, regrettably, Seo Eun-hyun had repeatedly warned her that such a thing must never happen. Thus, Kong Min-hee has kept silent about her true ability to this day. In any case, the reason these blue spirits remain by her side instead of falling into the netherworld is because she created a law. By declaring herself as a part of the netherworld and establishing herself as a sanctuary where spirits could linger before being judged, she enabled the spirits to stay by her side and remain loyal to her. This ability is still unstable. That is the truth. The law Kong Min-hee created stems from the deepest parts of her heart. It emerged from the realm of her unconsciousness and is not something she had intentionally created. If I rise to true immortality, will I be able to properly wield this ability? There are things she wants to do with this power. There are things she wants to see. But, as she has yet to reach a level where she can freely create laws, she lets out a small sigh. Let's grow stronger. Now that she has recovered her memories, the advancement ritual to the sacred vessel stage becomes easy. In order to advance to sacred vessel, advance to entering nirvana, and advance to true immortality to fully unleash her ability, she begins to move forward. Wawung. Countless spirits follow her, who is upside down. Kong Min-hee strolls through peaceful Cloud Star, the location chosen for her sacred vessel advancement ritual. The scattered fragments of Kong Min-hee begin to be absorbed into her, centering on her identity as an immortal art. At first, as she prepared for the sacred vessel advancement ritual, she felt resistance. Replacing herself with immortal arts? It was such a terrifying and aversive concept. In general, beings at the integration stage and above perceive immortal arts as an art that moves through attraction force. The basic immortal art of the integration stage, various omens, and the basic immortal art of the star-shattering stage, examination of doubts. All of them are activated through attraction force. Thus, becoming a sacred vessel felt unsettling, as though replacing oneself with the flow of attraction force. But, Seo Eun-hyun explained it to her, that immortal arts, in truth, are the power of the heart. that they are an authority that is activated through one's heart. Now, I'm not afraid. Because of that, she can step forward without hesitation. Immortal arts is a branch of the heart. To say that one replaces oneself with immortal arts is nothing extraordinary. It merely means restructuring oneself around a portion of one's heart, the part of the heart one pursues the most. In other words, it is one's character. A sage once said, if one aligns their heart with goodness, later, even when acting on instinct, they will behave with goodness. If a swordsman develops and maintains a habit of honing their sword, in due time, their instinctive actions will involve honing the sword. This is what it means when immortal art is said to replace one's persona. Perhaps being human is not solely determined by one's physical body, brain, or even spiritual form. Becoming completed by what one does and what one desires to become. That is what it means to be a person. And replacing one's persona with immortal art signifies completing oneself based on one's desires. Immortal cultivation is not simply about growing stronger, living longer, acquiring superior dharma treasures, or consuming better pills. It is about completing oneself. It is about finding one's own path and advancing forward. That is what immortal cultivation is, Kong Min-hee. So, there's no need to be afraid. We'll cheer you on. Those are the words Seo Eun-hyun had told her before she began her sacred vessel advancement. Pat it. The fragments Kong Min-hee scattered begin to coalesce around the heart she desires. Centered on the immortal art she has chosen, the flawless mantra, they start to gather. Immortal cultivation is, ultimately, a bridle. A bridle is something placed upon slaves or livestock. Kong Min-hee obtained this mantra in the past from the deep and dark being. And as she proceeds with her sacred vessel advancement ritual, she feels as though she understands the heart of the one who created this mantra. Unending distress. It is this distress that created this immortal art. However, Kong Min-hee adds her own interpretation to this distress. Immortal cultivation is ultimately a bridle. But, at last, she completes a full circle around peaceful cloud star. It is also something meant to protect. The being who created the mantra undoubtedly sought to reveal their own servitude through it, and at the same time, to make those who learn the mantra serve them like slaves. However, for some reason, she perceives within the meaning of that action a will to protect. Attraction force is a chain, and fate is a bar. Thus, until one becomes flawless, remain within this place. I shall protect you. Pat it. She, who completed a full circle around the planet, absorbs the final fragment. Peowat. Countless blue spirits leap with joy, and Kong Min-hee's body begins to grow enormously. Pat it. Transformed into a brilliant blue spirit form, she dons a navy blue robe, and with her body now vast enough to encompass the planet's continent, she kneels down on the spot. Most of the humans of the peaceful cloud star cannot see her, who exists only within the plane of soul. However, a grand perfection heavenly being cultivator half a step into the four-axis stage. Uy breathes heavily and gazes at Kong Min-hee as if his eyes might burst while gaining knowledge. Kong Min-hee, in this state, gazes into the distant universe. She sees Kim Young-hoon, who perfected his martial arts. She also sees John Myung-hoon, who has advanced to esteemed one, and Kim Yun, who possesses the power of an esteemed one, all protecting her as she undergoes the sacred vessel advancement. Kong Min-hee, looking at the comrades, speaks softly. I will protect you all, from now on as well. Kim Yun smiles warmly, and John Myung-hoon nods as he strokes Sohei's hand. Kim Young-hoon laughs heartily and jokes, saying, Hey, what do you mean by you all? Kong Min-hee's gaze moves beyond Kim Young-hoon, Kim Yun, and John Myung-hoon, all the way to the distant cedarwood painting, meeting the eyes of Seo Eun-hyun who is watching over her. Kong Min-hee and Seo Eun-hyun exchange glances and share a gentle smile. 1,900 years since Seo Eun-hyun became a sacred master. Kong Min-hee fully completes her sacred vessel advancement. Wawoom. Suddenly, a door opens in the void, and someone emerges. It is Hweol, the sacred master of the Nether Ghost Realm. Kong Min-hee lowers her head and bows to her. Disciple of the Black Ghost Valley greets the Palace Lord. I am not the Palace Lord of Black Ghost Valley. To begin with, Black Ghost Valley operates under a collective leadership, governed by a council of Grand Elders, so a Palace Lord cannot exist. Pardon? But Seo Eun-hyun clearly told me so. Kong Min-hee looks confused, and Hweol also scratches her cheek in bewilderment. Now that I think about it, Sacred Master Eun-hyun did say some strange things to me last time as well. Something about the back of my head. It's true I once cultivated the ghost path method of 2 faces, but I achieved great completion in it over 1,000,000 years ago, so my faces have long since merged. Truly strange words. Shaking her head as if she doesn't understand, Hweol extends her hand to Kong Min-hee. In any case, there is something I must give to the distinguished one. Please stop by the Nether Ghost Realm for a moment. Kong Min, he looks at Yuo with a somewhat skeptical expression and asks, I heard from Seo Eunhyun, but you're not planning to dump the position of Sacred Master of the Nether Ghost Realm on me and immediately advance, are you? Oh ho ho. Distinguished One truly has great faith in Sacred Master Eunhyun. It's not exactly that. At least, until the end, I still need to look after the children of the Nether Ghost Realm. Distinguished One would indeed make the most fitting successor, but it's not mandatory. I will swear it upon the one I serve. Before the end, I won't forcibly pass the position of Sacred Master onto the Distinguished One. Hearing Yuo's words, Kong Minhee's face flushes slightly. I apologize for misunderstanding. Then, what is it that you wish to give me? What I have to give are fragments of an immortal treasure and information that will provide aid in the mantra the Distinguished One is cultivating. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. After bowing to Yuo, Kong Minhee conveys the situation to Seo Eunhyun and her comrades before following Yuo to the Nether Ghost Realm. Jean Myung-hoon and Kim Yun exchange glances, then return to cedarwood painting through the dimensional gate Seo Eunhyun has prepared. Quajijijik. The barrier that Kim Yun and Jean Myung-hoon created using Seo Eunhyun's power dissipates, and sometime later, Kwang, a dimensional gate of a middle realm bursts apart like an explosion, and someone shouts in rage. Yuo, did you use the attraction force of the ghost path to sense things in advance and take the initiative? Have I missed it once again? Just how long must I remain stuck with these useless, parasitic bastards? Ban Ta's voice transmission, laced with blood tears, resounds through the now completely vacant expanse of space. The Enders, one by one, continue to grow with the passage of time. Kim Young-hoon, Jeon Myung-hoon, and Kong Min each raise their respective realms, and Oh Hyun-suk also continues to grow well. And now, 2,000 years since Seo Eunhyun became a sacred master. With 8,000 years remaining until the end, Seo Eunhyun and his comrades, who have been growing and cultivating throughout the universe, all gather again at cedarwood painting. Then, Seo Eunhyun begins to attempt something. Shortly after Seo Eunhyun's plan begins, all the rulers of the sun and moon heavenly domain sense something strange. The most experienced ones, Baek-woon and Yuo, detect it first. Baek-woon looks up at the sky, her eyes narrowing. The celestial energy? Just what is happening? Yuo, too, trembles violently. Could it be? Soon after, Ban Ta, Hei Lin, Jai Um, and others notice the anomaly as well. Just what on earth is happening? The entering nirvana true persons also sense the strangeness. Countless true persons communicate with one another, seeking advice and falling into confusion. And, as expected, the owner of the Blood-een realm, Blood-een, realizes what is going on. Insane lunatic. Blood-een, having identified the source of the celestial phenomenon, clicks his tongue softly. Baek-woon trembles and mutters. The end is being brought forward? Indeed, the end, originally set for 8,000 years in the future, is now being brought forward. Half the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, 7 to 8 minutes. It is only half a tea session, but without a doubt, the end is drawing closer. Even now, the attraction force of the heavenly domain continues to increase in real time, drawing the end closer by the time it takes to blink. Although it is not an amount of time significant enough to bring alarm, it is a grave matter. Because if the cause of this acceleration remains unidentified, the speed at which the end approaches could increase drastically. Find it. Find a cause. Blood-een. We must seek advice even if it's from Blood-een. Search the entire universe. If anything suspicious is found, report it to everyone immediately. Countless true persons of the entering nirvana stage scatter their wills across the universe in a panic. And, while the entire sun and moon heavenly domain stirs with commotion, in the center of cedarwood painting, Seo Eunhyun is reciting something. Immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. Like tiny grains of salt gathering to form a sea. Build mountains through repentant enlightenment. Building a mountain of salt is Wawung. Around the sacred master Seo Eunhyun, the power of the mantra reacts, creating salt. Seo Eunhyun half opens his eyes and gazes upward at the sky. Perhaps the fastest way to reach the heavens. The celestial energy changes. TL notes, Festival of the Eve, Chinyaji, as in a that is held festival that is held on the eve of an event. Chapter 516, Festival of the Eve, Chinyaji. 2. Kugugugugu. The entire universe trembles. The true persons shake with anger as they scour every corner of the universe. Has there been any response from Blood-een? No reply has come. Damn it all. What in the world is it? What is bringing forth the end? Contact the sacred masters immediately. All the entering nirvanas run wild, stirring the universe to uncover the reason the end is approaching faster. And, in the middle realms, Baek-woon is praying to the Radiance Hall, while Yuo and Hei Lin are praying to the underworld. Jai Um, 2 frantically tries to contact Blood Een, but Blood Een remains silent. Everyone is thrown into confusion, desperately seeking answers. However, strangely enough, the answer comes from the one least interested in the matter. Ban Ta, who is observing cedarwood painting, where Seo Eun-hyun, Kong Min-hee, and many others with the potential to advance to the sacred vessel stage are gathered, senses something amiss. What on earth is this? As he observes cedarwood painting, he notices that its attraction force has become unusual. What is going on? The celestial energy of the sun and moon heavenly domain is converging around cedarwood painting. Kick. As he observes the celestial energy, he senses something suspicious. Wait, the movement of that attraction force. As Ban Ta discerns the true nature of the celestial energy's flow, he is struck with shock. Comparing the flow of the accelerating end and the attraction force emanating from cedarwood painting, he becomes completely certain of its nature and trembles. The eyes of Ban Ta, who until now has been solely focused on the true person advancement, are now clouded with horror. Being over 700,000 years old, Ban Ta knows. This is undoubtedly a flow he witnessed once before. The terror he felt the first time he witnessed it is something Ban Ta has never forgotten even until now. Phenomena extinguishing mantra. Ban Ta's eyes roll back in shock. Woo. The entire purple gold realm vibrates. Immediately afterward, Ban Ta lets out a shout. Hear me. I, Ban Ta, have uncovered the cause of this strange phenomenon. Ban Ta's voice reverberates throughout the entirety of the sun and moon heavenly domain. All eyes of the true persons and sacred masters are drawn to Ban Ta's voice, which sounds intensely startled. It's the phenomena extinguishing mantra. The sacred master of cedarwood painting, Seo Eun-hyun, is using the phenomena extinguishing mantra. After Ban Ta's desperate proclamation, the entire universe falls silent for a moment. Perhaps it is because it's taking a little time for the sacred masters and true persons of the universe to grasp the meaning of those words. After all, no one could understand how a mere sacred master could use the mantra that only the tyrannical mountain god could utter. However, after a brief moment of processing, when everyone finally grasps the meaning of those words, the entire sun and moon heavenly domain quakes. Bright cold realm, heavenly lotus mountain, white jade pavilion. There, Baek-woon is frantically sending transmissions to the Heavenly King heavenly domain. The rulers of the Heavenly King heavenly domain, who usually pay little attention to Baek-woon's reports. For today, the Radiance Hall opens an ear to Baek-woon's words. Is there someone using the phenomena extinguishing mantra? Yes, there is. It is the current sacred master of cedarwood painting, Seo Eun-hyun. He was once a disciple of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the bright cold realm. After the authority of the owner of heavenly punishment led to the destruction of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, he wandered from place to place for 800 years before advancing to the sacred vessel stage. His origin, as I reported, is the head realm. I humbly request the descent of the heavenly lords. Impossible. The heavenly lords of the Radiance Hall are currently all focused on the movements of the great mountain supreme deity. But, instead, we will request assistance from Yong-sung and the Northern Dipper 7 heavenly lords as allies. As direct descent is impossible due to the lightning sacred sea, have their disciples prepare the ritual for divine descent. Thank you. However, one of the Northern Dipper 7 heavenly lords' disciples, Yeoy, is currently captured by the sacred master of cedarwood painting. The descent may not be perfect. As long as they are not the vast cold heavenly lord in their youth, an imperfect descent will suffice. Yes, certainly. No matter what, he could not possibly wield the strength of the vast cold heavenly lord in their youth. Baek-woon nods as if understanding. How long will it take for the Northern Dipper 7 heavenly lords to descend? I do not know. Pardon? What on earth does that mean? They are currently in the outer sea, trying to save their master. Contacting them is uncertain. Everything depends on fate. You should seek assistance from Yong-sung. Crackle, the true immortal of Radiance Hall, having finished delivering the divine oracle to Baek-woon, soon conceals their presence. Baek-woon grits her teeth, letting out a low groan. Those fools who only know how to flaunt their arrogance. But there is nothing she can do for now. O great agent of calendrical methods and chronicles, apostle of the Lord who governs the passing of time. I, Baek-woon, sacred master of the bright cold realm and saint of light, humbly request your assistance. Woo. In an instant, Baek-woon's mind is pulled beyond the distant sky to some unknown place. She whispers something in prayer to Yong-sung. Her wish is for the current crisis to be resolved. However, at that moment, Pajijijik. Cool. Baek-woon's mind abruptly returns to her body, and she opens her eyes wide in disbelief as she shouts. Unbelievable. What do you mean by this? Are you saying you will not assist the sun and moon heavenly domain? Are you turning your back on Radiance Hall? The Radiance Hall will not stand idly by. However, despite Baekwoon's cries, there is no one to answer her. Baekwoon's expression darkens. She sends her will to Hweol of the Nether Ghost Realm to inquire about the situation, but the only response she receives from Hweol is, the underworld, too, offers no answers. The South Polar Ritual Treasure has betrayed Radiance Hall, and the underworld side used the ghostly Een transformation immortal root to create the ghost guiding Holy Mother. And even though there is someone using the phenomena extinguishing mantra, the tyrannical mountain god does not take action. Just what in the world is going on? How could something like this happen? Letting out a deep groan, Baekwoon lets out a burst of lament. Great chaos will descend upon the sun and moon heavenly domain. The chaos of 40,000 years ago will be nothing in comparison. No, this might be comparable to the great chaos during the era of the Golden Divine. Ancient Force Realm. See King Hall. Seated on the throne within, Lin's eyes tremble. Unbelievable. It was possible to use the phenomena extinguishing mantra, and that too by a mere sacred master who hasn't even lived for 10,000 years. For a sacred master to wield it, one would need to chant the phenomena extinguishing mantra continuously for at least 330,000 years while deeply understanding immortal arts. Even then, that would assume direct tutelage from that being. How on earth is such a thing possible? Lin lets out a low groan, as if unable to comprehend it at all. What should I do? Should I fulfill my duty as a sacred master? Or should I repay the debt as a descendant of the immortal beast Xieji? What should I do, father? True Devil Realm. Blood Sacrificial Altar. There, Jia gazes at cedarwood painting with an expression full of unease. What madness is this, Hweol? Why are you assisting him with tainted soul filling the heavens? Isn't that not our goal? Hweol. The power of purple soul filling the heavens ripples around Jia. As expected, those born of the head realm cannot be trusted. In the end, did you completely lose your mind, Hweol? If it's come to this, am I to proceed with my plan without Hweol's aid? Letting out a small sigh, Jia expression turns bitter. Astral Realm. Around cedarwood painting, numerous entities begin to appear. Quasi-immortals. All the quasi-immortals of the sun and moon heavenly domain leap across thousands of light years in their main bodies and encircle cedarwood painting. Among them, Jinlu Gok, a member of the same race as Seo Eun-hyun, is present as well. Chuok. Jinlu Gok, assuming a human form, speaks. I thought highly of you because we are from the same race. But what is it you are doing now? Stop this at once. However, the attraction force radiating from cedarwood painting remains unyielding. It continues to distort the surrounding space, slowly but steadily bringing the entire sun and moon heavenly domain closer to the end. Finally, the true persons erupt in fury. There's no need to speak any further. Cease the use of the phenomena extinguishing mantra. How you acquired that ominous and evil mantra, avoided retribution, and are now able to wield it is unknown. However, that mantra is dangerous. Stop using that vile devilish art at once. The true persons, who had been observing Seo Eun-hyun since the Nether Ghost Realm, speak with a mix of anger and fear in their eyes. He is the one who grasped the true meaning of the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique in the Nether Ghost Realm. Does this mean he traced back the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique to obtain the true phenomena extinguishing mantra? Was what he was using until now not just an imitation of the phenomena extinguishing mantra's power, but the real mantra? Even with the recognition of the mantra's owner, it would take hundreds of thousands of years of repentant enlightenment to use the phenomena extinguishing mantra at the level of a sacred master. How could such an anomaly exist? However, as the true persons clamor among themselves, Payarat, 5 colossal lights blossom around cedarwood painting. Simultaneously, 5-dimensional gates open, and countless figures emerge from within. Bright Cold Realm, Sacred Master Baekwoon, accompanied by 6 esteemed ones of the Bright Cold Realm. True Devil Realm, Sacred Master Jia, accompanied by 3 esteemed ones of the True Devil Realm. Ancient Force Realm, Sacred Master Lin, accompanied by 4 esteemed ones of the Ancient Force Realm. Nether Ghost Realm, Sacred Master Hweol, accompanied by 4 esteemed ones of the Nether Ghost Realm. Purple Gold Realm, Sacred Master Banta, accompanied by 4 esteemed ones of the Purple Gold Realm. As they step forward, all of them speak to Seo Eun-hyun with stern, hardened expressions. Hweol and Baekwoon step to the forefront. Seo Eun-hyun, listen. The phenomena extinguishing mantra you are currently chanting is among the most dangerous mantras in existence. We knew you had been cultivating with it, but we never thought you'd be able to wield and unleash its true power. We weren't even certain if it was the true phenomena extinguishing mantra, yet to think it was to this degree. I implore you. Please stop using the true phenomena extinguishing mantra. You've only been cultivating with it, so you likely don't understand the full extent of its power. The true power of that mantra is truly terrifying. It is enough to threaten the entirety of the sun and moon heavenly domain. So stop it at once. I have personally witnessed the power of the phenomena extinguishing mantra from afar. Hweol desperately tries to persuade Seounhyun. Using it will cause countless living beings to perish. Many will be sent to the netherworld, unable to find rest, and instead will be absorbed by the mantra's user and suffer eternal torment. I implore Sacred Master Eunhyun to listen. The phenomena extinguishing mantra is an utterly horrifying devilish art. Please stop using it. And then, Seo Eunhyun's reply is heard from within cedarwood painting. For all the countless beings who have been observing me until now to fail to realize that what I was using was the real thing, how unfortunate it is. Without even being able to discern between the true and fake phenomena extinguishing mantra, how can seniors simply label it as a horrifying devilish art? Depending on how I use it, could it not become the starting point to saving everyone? At those words, one of the true persons shouts angrily, "You, a brat not even 5,000 years old, dares to judge us with your meager experience? This immortal has seen the phenomena extinguishing mantra once before. Do you have any idea what happens when it is unleashed?" Baekwoon, too, reveals her anger at Seo Eunhyun's and speaks sharply. Most of the true persons have witnessed the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Just recalling that horrifying and gruesome devilish art is enough to make one shudder. You have never even seen the true face of the phenomena extinguishing mantra. So how can you so arrogantly claim you can control it? Save everyone. That is nothing but a path to total annihilation. At Baekwoon's voice, laughter can be heard from within cedarwood painting. To think you dare to speak before me of having seen the phenomena extinguishing mantra from afar, that it's terrifying, and question whether I understand its nature. It truly makes me laugh. Hweol. Above cedarwood painting, a massive projection of glass cedarwood mountain rises. Standing at the summit of glass cedarwood mountain, Seo Eunhyun looks down upon the true persons, sacred masters, and esteemed ones, and speaks. Through the phenomena extinguishing mantra, I intend to save everyone in the sun and moon heavenly domain from the end. As for the details of how I plan to do so, I cannot reveal them since those here would be connected to true immortals and suffer greatly if I did. However, I swear upon the immortal arts that constitute my essence, no one here will be harmed. Furthermore, the end will still come in 8,000 years as scheduled. At most, it might be brought forward by a week. There is nothing for anyone to worry about. Stop this at once. Even mentioning the connections to true immortals is suspicious. Did you receive some kind of instruction from the mountain god? The phenomena extinguishing mantra accelerating the end is not the problem. The problem is that the mantra is properly used during the end. Think what you will. I expected opposition, but it's quite severe. Seo Eunhyun smiles faintly and raises one hand. Move the stars, Seo Hweol. Do. The true persons and sacred masters glare in unison at Seo Eunhyun and cedarwood painting. Under Seo Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens, the star veins twist, forming some kind of formation centered around cedarwood painting. Hweol. At the same time, a certain small dimension is extracted from the bright cold realm, crossing spacetime to attach itself to cedarwood painting. Hweol. It's the storage scroll of lofty dragon true person, which had been lodged in the bright cold realm. I, the rightful owner of the tears and armor of Hei Nyong, the clear scale armor, hereby declare. Hweol. At Seo Eunhyun's declaration, who was granted the authority of ownership by the Nether Devil True Lord Yu Hao Te, the lake of the clear scale armor, buried beneath the Melia tree, is drawn out from lofty dragon true person's storage scroll and envelopes the entirety of cedarwood painting. Simultaneously, bright red karmic fire erupts from the storage scroll of lofty dragon true person, dyeing the entire universe. The sacred masters and true persons retreat in shock, escaping the range of the karmic fire. Baekwoon shouts in astonishment as she watches Seo Eunhyun burning brightly at the center of the karmic fire. That lunatic. How can he remain composed in the center of the karmic fire? It's impossible for a living being to be free of sin. Did he undergo judgment in advance? Sizzle, 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 sizzle. The entire cosmic space seems to be cooking under the heat of the karmic fire. Why yang? Then, just as the true persons and sacred masters retreat, one of the 28 artificial stars within cedarwood painting enters the storage scroll of lofty dragon true person attached to the world. Now Kim Yun. As soon as Kim Yun forms a hand seal, the artificial star that entered lofty dragon true person's storage scroll begins to glow brightly, connecting with Seo Eunhyun within cedarwood painting. Why yang? The artificial star resonates with Seo Eunhyun. Cedarwood painting and lofty dragon true person storage scroll begin to completely fuse. Romjet. The dimension of cedarwood painting devours the storage scroll of lofty dragon true person, becoming one and expanding even further. Simultaneously, on the other side of the peaceful cloud continent, another continent emerges. From now on, Seo Un-hyun, relishing in his strengthened authority and the absoluteness of cedarwood painting, declares, "The artificial middle realm plan shall begin." Thus begins the 8,000-year-long war between Seo Un-hyun and all the beings of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain. Chapter 517, Festival of the Eve, Jing 3. Captured by the heavenly venerable of the underworld and nearly taxidermized for all eternity. Captured by the great mountain supreme deity, leading to the total annihilation of the Wuji religious order. Entangled with blood and endlessly repeating death. In the end, witnessing Hweol reduced to an earthworm, and the supreme deities and heavenly venerables laying dead. As I witnessed these events, I reflected, this world is a place where one can never let down their guard. Regression is not absolute, though it is undeniably a powerful ability. One could experience endless death, as with blood or yang sum. One could be caught while regressing, as in the case of the underworld. And against absolute beings, it is not usable as a direct offensive ability. Fortunately, in the cases of blood the underworld, and yang sum, I was able to rise again. However, among those true immortals above, the one who strikes me with the most fear and suffocating dread is, without a doubt, the great mountain supreme deity. No one knows better than I, who observed closely, just how persistently they exploited the fates of Han Wen and Yun Wei. They are meticulous, overwhelmingly powerful, and domineering. Moreover, they are a being who consumed countless lives to build a mountain, a corpse mountain. Thinking about that mountain, it can't be more certain that they are truly an abominable devil god to the point it makes one's teeth clench. In the world of Penglai Island, they did show me a slightly kind side. However, that was it. I am now at the sacred vessel stage. My true strength is at the entering nirvana level, and by interrogating the entering nirvana true person Yeo, whom I captured alive, I was able to learn the truth about the entering nirvana advancement and true immortal advancement. True immortality is right before me. They said to settle things above. I know their nature very well. Great Mountain is never fair or just. Only in matters related to their master do they occasionally act with a semblance of fairness. In essence, they are a colossal evil jerk. Given their words about meeting above, it wouldn't be strange if they immediately attacked me with full force the moment I succeeded in the true immortal advancement. Of course, there could be additional conditions implied in meeting above, but based on my interpretation of their character, I cannot afford to dismiss such a possibility. Thus, I cannot afford to relax and idly pass the time playing as a sacred master. I must prepare. At the very least, I must be able to put up some resistance in front of Great Mountain after becoming a true immortal. Never again will I experience a horrific event like the Wuji religious order catastrophe. Thus, what I must do now is refine and temper myself with everything I have. In order to do so, I explained my plan to my comrades. My comrades each added their own ideas to help me. Whenever Yeo occasionally muttered that it was impossible, I would hang her upside down and continue listening to the opinions of my comrades. Together with Kim Yun, we devised a plan for an artificial middle realm. The plan involved gathering the entirety of the decaying corpse realms of the heavenly domain, refining them, and merging them with cedarwood painting, thereby forging an artificial middle realm. To be honest, I was personally skeptical about whether something like an artificial middle realm was even possible. But if it's Kim Yun, who inherited the extraordinary pattern law talent and evolved it into something entirely new, it seemed feasible. Of course, even so, it is impossible for it to compare to a true middle realm. However, in times of emergency, it could draw in the living beings of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain for protection, and it also seemed to be a significant help in safeguarding cedarwood painting until I complete my plan. Kim Young-hoon also discussed martial arts with me and greatly helped in exploring the mandala of cedarwood painting. Hong Fan also supplemented various parts of my plan, offering numerous pieces of advice to ensure its success. I came to realize that it is possible to extract and use the authority of Ohyesyo, who eternally wanders within my heart essence, by exercising my authority as a sacred vessel. With this, borrowing the strength of all my comrades, I proceeded with the plan to save my comrades and all the living beings of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain. Kugugugugu. Amidst the karmic fire, the cedarwood painting that burns as it shields itself with the clear scale armor. When that cedarwood painting fully connected to the storage scroll of lofty dragon true person, the eyes of the true persons and sacred masters widened. Given their own lifetimes of experience and accumulated insight, They immediately recognized what Seo Eunhyun is planning. He's creating a middle realm. Insanity. Even the heavenly craftsman only attempted such a feat after reaching true immortality. Stop him at all costs. That madman's phenomena extinguishing mantra is growing even stronger. It's exactly as the last true person said. As much as Seo Eunhyun's cedarwood painting continues to expand, and the absoluteness of its dimension grows stronger, the power and authority of Seo Eunhyun, who is embedded in cedarwood painting, intensifies, and the attraction force of the phenomena extinguishing mantra grows slightly stronger. Although the speed at which the end approaches is only marginally faster, it nonetheless increases. Everyone trembles in shock and horror at Seo Eunhyun's insane actions. That insane madman. Fine, if it's war you want, then so be it. But what can we do? Don't you know about the karmic fire? We absolutely cannot make direct contact with him. Touching the karmic fire means pain worse than death. Even if we endure it and attack, what about the clear scale armor? All physical attacks will be blocked by the clear scale armor. Jai contact your main body. Tell it to reclaim the karmic fire. The true persons jump around wildly as they search for a means to penetrate Seo Eunhyun's defenses. Jai lets out a bitter smile and shakes his head. If it's Blood-in, he would have realized by now. But, for some reason, Blood-in shows no reaction even after seeing the karmic fire. Do not count on his help. Hey Lin, it's the tears of your ancestor. As a direct descendant, you should be able to control the clear scale armor. Hurry and open it now. I apologize, but I lack the authority to control that clear scale armor. For some reason, even with my abilities as a direct descendant, it does not elicit a response. There is only one explanation for this. Someone higher than my ancestor, the deputy judge, has granted Seo Eunhyun the authority to handle the clear scale armor. At Hei Lin's words, the true person's rampage. Blood-in. It must be that bastard. He is the root cause of all this. Claiming to be the former chief judge, he must have granted that bastard the authority to use the clear scale armor and the karmic fire. Without a doubt, he's colluding with the tyrannical devil god, Mosen. I realized it ever since he occasionally borrowed the power of the corpse mountain blood sea. The true persons seethe with rage as they glare at Seo Eunhyun. Then, it cannot be helped. As direct contact is impossible, we must break through with authority. The true persons begin to exert their powers. Hear us, stars of the nations. Jinlu Gok steps to the forefront and shouts with a hardened and solemn face. We declare, the star veins of the sun and moon heavenly domain shall obey only our command. The authority of the wicked shall never encroach upon the domain of the true persons. Woo. The formation formed by the star veins controlled by Hweol begin to transform. But in the next moment, Seo Eunhyun's illusion smiles and raises a finger. Why yang? Behind Seo Eunhyun's head, the Hweol rises. The true persons go berserk with madness, sealing their own vision to avoid directly gazing at the Hweol. I rewrite. O formation of stars, become the threads that pull in the outer realms. Keying. Simultaneously, Seo Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens, and Seo Eunhyun's Hweol begin to move. The formation of star veins, which the true persons and Jinlu Gok had seized control of, instantly transforms into a formation obedient to Seo Eunhyun's command. The Hweol, the attraction force of the phenomena extinguishing mantra and tainted soul filling the heavens exert their power, pulling an immense mass from beyond the universe. Kugwagwa. In the shape of an eye, a decaying corpse realm enveloped in a dimensional barrier leaps through space at an immense speed and merges with cedarwood painting like lofty dragon true person storage scroll. Once again, Kim Yun's artificial star enters the eye decaying corpse realm, fully fusing cedarwood painting and the outer decaying corpse realm. O formations of stars, become the threads that pull in the growing realms. Once again, from the far reaches of the universe, beyond the interdimensional void, yet another body part of a true immortal begins flying towards this location. Baekwon solemnly stretches out her hand. Hweol. Immediately after, the incoming decaying corpse realm explodes, instantly annihilating all living beings within it. Kugugugugu. The universe quakes violently, excluding Yo-Oh, Baek, and the other sacred masters of the middle realms. The four of them, exuding an aura akin to that of true immortals, glare at Seo Eunhyun. Baekwon opens her mouth. Such rampage will not be tolerated any longer. Summon the decaying corpse realms 100, 1,000 times if you will. I will destroy them all before they even arrive. It must have been a realm where billions of living beings resided, yet you destroyed it without hesitation. If it's to prevent the sun and moon heavenly domain from entering your stomach, I would do worse. Have I not already said it? This will bring no harm to you all. Moreover, my intent is not to devour the sun and moon heavenly domain. nor is it to offer it to the current owner of the phenomena extinguishing mantra, as you suspect. Do you want me to swear upon the black ancient paper before the owner of names? That won't be necessary. The fact that you're involved with true immortals is already indisputable. For someone of your caliber, I'm sure you've prepared a sufficient escape route already. Yang Sujin was the same. Do you intend to continue? Seo Eunhyun locks eyes with Baekwon. The being standing here now is not the one who used to exchange opinions with Seo Eunhyun in passing or jokingly pursued him to push the sacred master position onto him. No, this is a being resolved to obliterate the existence known as Seo Eunhyun with all their strength and to prevent every single one of his actions. A being who crushes the small without hesitation for the sake of the great. That is the sacred master Baekwon who stands here now. Seo Eunhyun meets the eyes of Hweol, who appears to be withholding her actions. Sacred Master Hweol, are you planning to step aside? I will remain neutral. Hweol calmly takes a step back from where she stands. As I cannot take any other actions without the commands of the Reapers, I hope everyone understands my stance. The true persons and sacred masters nod, and Seo Eunhyun nods as well. In any case, one sacred master stepping aside is already a great help. Seo Eunhyun then turns to another. He looks at Lin, who shows a slightly ambiguous heart essence, and asks. Sacred Master Lin seems to be hesitant. What will the Sacred Master do? However, Lin, after appearing to deliberate over his question, hardens his expression and speaks. I am the Sacred Master of the Ancient Force Realm. I have resolved to protect the living beings of the Ancient Force Realm. Lin steps forward and shouts at Seo Eunhyun. Stop the phenomena extinguishing mantra, Seo Eunhyun. Even if it's you, you cannot stop us all. A tone that carries a hint of pleading. But Seo Eunhyun only gives him a look that says he understands his will. He does not back down. Is that all? Yet all the remaining true persons and sacred masters. They only stare coldly, with no one stepping back further. Only Baekwon speaks coldly again, merely informing Seo Eunhyun of reality. Summon the decaying corpse realms as many times as you wish. Call forth the stellar systems as well. I will crush them all, no matter how many times they come. At that, Seo Eunhyun smiles. Then, as you wish. Immediately after, next to Seo Eunhyun's projection, another massive projection appears. It is a woman clad in a navy blue robe, her hair dyed azure blue. By my authority as the Holy Mother who guides the dead, the deceased shall come to my embrace. Kong Min-hee, who has reached the sacred vessel stage, raises one hand and extends it towards the remains of the decaying corpse realm that Baekwon had just destroyed. The recently slumbering dead shall return to the embrace of I, the incarnation of Nether Crossing. Keying. At Kong Min-hee's proclamation, the souls of the living beings from the decaying corpse realm that Baekwon destroyed are sucked into her like beams of light. That's not all. Woo-wong. In this world, everything possesses a soul. This applies even to pebbles, simple winds, dust, and flames. When such souls lose their place, they head toward the source river after death. And the same is true for a world. The soul of the decaying corpse realm being pulled into the source river can be seen. Yet, at Kong Min-hee's call, the soul of the decaying corpse realm stops abruptly and is instead sucked into her. It seems her authority over the dead slightly surpasses the laws of the source river. Whether this is because the owner of the source river is absent or because her authority is intertwined with the heavenly venerable of the underworld, often referred to as the true god of death, remains unclear. Woo-wong. Kong Min-hee places the souls of the destroyed decaying corpse realm and its living beings into cedarwood painting. Seo Eunhyun immediately places those souls into his heart essence and replicates them within the canvas of myriad forms and connections. A portion of Hweol's authority, which summons the power of beings from the past, combined with this sacred master's authority to extract what exists in the heart essence into reality and make it permanent. He manifests the bodies that the souls once possessed in the past inside his heart essence and extracts them into reality through the sacred master's authority. Thus, through the combination of Kong Min-hee, Seo Eunhyun, and Hweol, all the deceased living beings are brought back to life with their physical bodies restored. TSTSTSTSTSTSTS. That is not all. Oh Hyun-suk begins to exert his strength. Although he is still the lowest in cultivation realm among Seo Eunhyun's group, being only at the grand perfection integration stage, he was able to find his authority when he exited Punglai Island. The dense power of primordial chaos saturates his entire body. Within the purple mist, Oh Hyun-suk grasps the soul of the decaying corpse realm that Seo Eunhyun absorbed. Woo-wong. Everything intertwines. In the midst of chaos, reality and illusion seem to blur and shift faintly, and the remains of the decaying corpse realm, which should have been outside, are drawn by the soul of the decaying corpse realm and suddenly appear inside cedarwood painting. Pot. As Kim Yun's consciousness domain moves, the artificial stars combine the shattered remains and the soul of the decaying corpse realm, reconstructing the decaying corpse realm inside cedarwood painting. This is the power of the Liberation Law talent. The decaying corpse realm, reassembled within cedarwood painting, soon melts into it, expanding the size of cedarwood painting once more. After completing this sequence of events, Seo Eunhyun's attraction force has grown even stronger. Seo Eunhyun meets Baekwoon's gaze and speaks. How many times did you say you would destroy it? Go ahead. No matter how many times you destroy, it's useless. To us. Seo Eunhyun looks back at his comrades and smiles. We have the Wuji Divine Demon, Lightning Harbinger, Ghost Guiding Holy Mother, the hope of the Great Azure Heaven Creation Sect, including the owner of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Countless heroes stand here. Give up. Baekwoon stares at Seo Eunhyun with an expressionless face, before exchanging transmissions with the true persons and sacred masters. After murmuring amongst themselves in cosmic voices, they soon reach a decision and fix their gazes on Seo Eunhyun. Very well. Then, we shall engage you in the proper manner of a middle realm invasion strategy. Shichikachichi. A strange sound resounds, and Baekwoon, along with the true persons and sacred masters, simultaneously begin to unleash their domains. Even if it takes hundreds, no, thousands of years, we will stop you, Seo Eunhyun. The domains of the true persons become imbued with the power of immortal arts. Simultaneously, some kind of mark seems to be engraved within the domains of all the sacred masters and true persons. Beyond that mark, a certain scene begins to materialize. Baekwoon's eyes seem to burn fiercely. The colossal forms of the true persons collectively begin to heat up. I, as the sovereign of a world, designate calamity upon the entirety of cedarwood painting. The true persons and sacred masters combine their powers, constructing something within their domains. It is a star. Seo Eunhyun understands what they are doing. It is something he experienced once before in the Nether Ghost realm. The true persons are combining their powers to interfere with the plane of fate. I prophesied this. The defense enveloping cedarwood painting will inevitably reveal a flaw in 400 years, and through that flaw, cedarwood painting shall collapse. Before Seo Eunhyun's eyes, something is reflected. The barrier of clear-scale armor and karmic fire, and the dimensional veil of cedarwood painting, created through the phenomena extinguishing mantra, tainted soul filling the heavens, and the absoluteness of the decaying corpse realm itself. It is a scene showing a small crack forming 400 years from now in that barrier, though the circumstances are unknown. TSTSTSTST. Beyond the world formed by the combined domains of the true persons and sacred masters. There, a new star appears. The star begins to cross into reality under Baekwoon's will. 3. The star crosses into the plane of fate in reality and connects with the star veins of the entire universe. At the same time, Seo Eunhyun feels it. That a prophecy of fate, like the time with Blood Een, has been inscribed upon his cedarwood painting. A prophecy and the designation of calamity. And through fate and history, a true battle of the immortal family, one that may span thousands, even tens of thousands of years, begins. Chapter 518, Festival of the Eve, 4. If the battles of star-shattering stage cultivators are considered cosmic in scale, then the battles of sacred vessel stage beings are no longer mere battles, but closer to wars. As each individual has become akin to an entire world, their battles can no longer unfold in ordinary ways. Kigajing. One true person detonates cosmic radiation, bombarding cedarwood painting for 60 years. Another true person transforms the very nature of nearby heaven and earth's spiritual energy into poison. It seems to be a secret art that changes the properties, concentrations, and combinations of the poison every second. Yet even after 60 years, it does not stop. Beyond this, there are other attacks as well, such as covering the sky of cedarwood painting with an unavoidable eternal morning sunlight, or erasing all starlight shining down on cedarwood painting so that the heaven tribe of cedarwood painting cannot surpass Chi refining 7th star. Some even unleash curses that penetrate the clear-scale armor and karmic fire, relentlessly striking this place for decades. Of course, none of this has posed a significant problem so far. The morning sunlight, which even the sacred master's authority could not block, was resolved when Kim Yun created a canopy that covers the entire world. The poison was dealt with by Hong Fan, while the curses were devoured by me. The radiation was absorbed by Oh Hyun-suk. Beyond this, the true persons, just as they had done in the Nether Ghost realm, extended their devilish arts in a cedarwood painting, attempting to create devotees that they can manipulate within. They even managed to seize a certain level of authority over the heavens, delivering heavenly tribulation on the cultivators instead of cedarwood painting. Whenever a chi refining cultivator broke through to the chi building stage, they would launch star tribulations. Although these were not genuine heavenly tribulations and I was thus able to block them myself without much trouble, the protective barriers of clear scale armor and karmic fire were gradually being shaken more violently. There's no major issue. That's the truth. Up until now, no significant problem has arisen. Every 10 years, I continued pulling and decaying corpse realms and integrating them into cedarwood painting, steadily expanding its size. But fate is the problem. Hweol, the star of fate, which appeared in the nearby space of cedarwood painting, continues to ominously shine as it shows me a distant future. The scene of 340 years from now. As time passed, the vision of cedarwood painting developing a flaw continues to drag cedarwood painting closer to that future. The future is drawing us into itself. At the level of the sacred vessel stage, one's vision undergoes many transformations. The eyes of the Earth tribe, which in the star-shattering stage could only see into the past, now allow us to connect with beings through the past. It becomes possible to communicate with beings of the past and draw upon their powers. It allows one to gain abilities not inferior to Hweol's authority merely through one's vision. Simultaneously, the vision of the Heaven tribe extends beyond mere foresight. The path of the future. It becomes possible to read countless possibilities of the future, like countless grains of sand scattered on the ground. And among those countless possibilities, it becomes possible to gradually approach the desired future, the ability to move towards the future one desires. That is the vision of a Heaven tribe sacred vessel. It is because of this vision that cultivators at the sacred vessel stage have an astonishingly high average success rate of 40% when advancing to the entering nirvana stage. Unless one lacks willpower, has been kidnapped and enslaved by an entity like Hweol, or is bound to the world, like the sacred masters of the middle realms, most sacred vessel sacred masters find it easy to advance to the true person stage. Hweol. However, I sense the twisting of history and future as seen through the visions of the Heaven and Earth tribes. Space and time bends under the influence of attraction force, and the future scenes that I am able to approach are becoming fixed into one. The scene of cedarwood painting developing a flaw. This scene, prophesied by the combined efforts of the true persons, is the only future I am now able to approach. But this isn't even the end. Hweol. The true persons are already overlapping their domains again, weaving some new symbol within the combined domain. They are preparing another prophecy. Perhaps in about 40 years, around 100 years after they uttered their last prophecy, they will issue their next one. If this continues, layer upon layer of prophecies filled with my defeat will pile up, and in the end, I will be torn apart into pieces by the true persons. The sacred masters of the middle realms might be able to mount some level of defense against all the true persons in the heavenly domain, but I am merely a sacred master of a decaying corpse realm. My own power is enough to suppress a single true person in a one-on-one fight. Moreover, by recently capturing Hweol and putting her on a leash, I have gained the ability to utilize her power as well, giving us the equivalent of 2 entering nirvana-level forces. Adding in Kong Min-hee, Kim Young-hoon, John Myung-hoon, and our other comrades, our combined power equals that of 3 entering nirvana true persons. However, that's all there is. Just within the Sun and Moon heavenly domain alone, there are over 100 entering nirvana true persons. There is no way we can defeat them all. Moreover, the 4 sacred masters of the middle realms essentially possess the power equivalent to 4 true immortals. The only reason I have been able to hold out this long is thanks to the clear scale armor and the authority of the karmic fire that judges sins. The karmic fire is so overwhelming that even entering nirvana true persons struggle to withstand it. But if those prophecies are fulfilled, even I will soon fall. There is only one way to nullify their prophecies. Just like that time when I advanced to void shattering, I must do it. Just like that time when I shattered the star created by the combined authority of 50 entering nirvana true persons with accumulating dust forms a mountain. I must destroy the star they have created. But that's impossible. The reason I can hold out against these countless enemies is because I'm on the defensive. If I were to launch an offensive and try to advance toward the star they are protecting to destroy it, I would be utterly defeated. Then, what should I do? Of course, I could use the method the great mountain supreme deity taught me to desecrate fate. If I create a model similar to cedarwood painting, declare it as cedarwood painting through my authority as sacred master, and then create a flaw in it, I could resolve the issue easily. But entering nirvanas are no fools. This method must not be revealed yet. It is a method that must remain hidden until the very end of ends, to be unveiled only during the end. Thus, I will conceal it. If I reveal it too soon, they could devise a way to counter it. Then, There is only one way to overcome the current situation. Yana, is everything going well with the preparations? A response comes through her voice transmission. I nod and lift my head towards the fate that is soon to arrive. I will not avoid it. Watch, O heavens above. This time, I will show you how I overcome fate. And so, 340 years passed swiftly. Over the course of 400 years, the true persons uttered 3 more prophecies in total. Each one is a prophecy that foretold 100 or 200 years in the future. So the prophecy that must be confronted right now is only one. The prophecy that states, a flaw will appear on this very day in cedarwood painting. At last, as their prophecy comes true. Keying. I feel the fate of cedarwood painting being entirely drawn into the scene the true persons have decreed. Simultaneously, one of the many cracks in cedarwood painting, formed over the past 400 years as countless middle realms were integrated, erupts. Quam. The sensation of my insides shaking causes my concentration to waver. Simultaneously, a storm coincidentally sweeps through cedarwood painting. The storm, coincidentally, gathers heaven and earth's spiritual energy and channels it into the weak point of the barrier. The explosion from the crack and the excessive infusion of spiritual energy into the barrier's weak point coincidentally resonate in perfect harmony, shaking the weak point entirely. And in that moment, coincidentally, one of the true person's attacks strikes the trembling weak point. Chwak. Finally, a flaw forms in the barrier of clear-scale armor and karmic fire. Fate has been realized. The eyes of the true persons turn upside down. Baek Woon, smirking while drawing forth the full power of the bright cold realm, shouts, "Itistone." The sacred masters simultaneously unleash attacks toward the flaw in the karmic fire. At the same time, I snap my fingers. Begin, Yana. Then, the puppets crafted by Kim Yun over 400 years all begin moving in unison. Click, 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 click. Song Jin had once told me during the fight against Yuan Li, the only thing that can oppose fate is history. The Mad Lord, when I sought guidance on fate, told me, the only way to overcome fate is to leap toward another future through greater strength. Leap forward. Thus, from the advice of Song Jin and the Mad Lord begins my leap of fate. 28 artificial stars form a heavens and emit a powerful attraction force. At the same time, the puppets located throughout cedarwood painting begin to move, mimicking the appearances of its inhabitants. The artificial souls of the puppets flock toward the wonderfully mysterious fortress hovering at the center of the artificial stars. And simultaneously, the Mad Lord's final act. The ultimate mechanism of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Yun's play activates. The artificial souls emit attraction force. Through the attraction force, they twist fate, and through fate, they further distort history and space-time. Gijigigik. The entirety of cedarwood painting becomes overlaid with the space-time of the past. Through Yun's play, the puppets manifest the history of cedarwood painting spanning 400 years. What stands here at this moment is not the cedarwood painting, flawed after 400 years under the prophecy of the true persons. It is the cedarwood painting over the span of 400 years that has yet to have a flaw appear. The true persons that are attempting to exploit the flaws of cedarwood painting strike against its overlaid spacetime version and are either immediately repelled, or they are engulfed in karmic fire and scream in madness, eventually losing consciousness and entering a dormant state. Meanwhile, while the immortal art Yun's play is active, I repair the flaw of the true cedarwood painting hidden beneath the overlaid spacetime. When the overlaid spacetime finally fades away and the real cedarwood painting is revealed, the true persons can only rage in madness, because their prophecy has been rendered entirely useless. I smile faintly and speak. Prophesize as many times as you like. I will counter it every time. With only my own strength, I would undoubtedly fail. But I have my comrades, the wisdom and experience accumulated over 400,000 years, and secret arts. What I have accumulated is not so fragile as to crumble in just 10,000 years. Now then, as I have defended, it is my turn. I signal to Kim Yun with a grin. In the next moment, Kim Yun activates Yun's play once again. At the same time, I draw upon the authority of Hweol and, through the authority of a sacred master, summon the power of the past. The scene Kim Yun showed just a moment ago was the past cedarwood painting. And if the Mad Lord's original plan for Yun's play was to show his own happiest moment from the past, the moment I intend to summon is something entirely different. Until now, let me show you just how many beings I have been entangled with. The next moment, Yun's play, Hweol's authority, my Earth Tribe's sacred vessel vision, and the canvas of myriad forms and connections all combine, manifesting a scene from my memory, if only for a fleeting instant. Kwakajijijik. The day of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect's annihilation. It is the very scene of the sky opening as the eye of the owner of heavenly punishment gazes down upon the bright cold realm. The moment the owner of heavenly punishment's gaze lands, the entering nirvana true persons simultaneously scream in agony. Try taking it. It is the gaze of a governing immortal. Even I, who was only in the nascent soul stage at the time, withstood it. Wouldn't it be shameful if you all couldn't? I have no concerns about Zhongli or the owner of heavenly punishment becoming connected to me. Even in the lightning's sacred sea, Zhongli ignored me and spoke only to Golden Shaking Bird. There is no reason for them to seek me out in this life either. Moreover, I already used the Heaven Tribe vision to confirm this operation in advance. There are no issues whatsoever. Hweol. Led by Baek Woon, the screams of the true persons echo resoundingly. Lightning surges from their bodies, and all of them, without exception, are cursed with the same lightning transformation as mine. In the next moment, the entirety of heaven and earth is consumed by the explosive clapping of lightning and thunder. Lai Sheng Fi. Chapter 519, Festival of the Eve, Jingyi. 5. Some might wish to argue against it, but I'm not actually a fool. Of course, there are times when I exhibit symptoms akin to dementia, especially when searching for specific memories amidst the overwhelming volume stored within the canvas of myriad forms and connections. However, I have never forgotten the memories of the important moments in my life. Naturally, I still remember every detail of the time when I opened my mouth recklessly, leading to the entire Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect and the Sky Island being grinded to dust. At the same time, I also remember that the owner of heavenly punishment wasn't even detectable by my mere nascent soul stage celestial energy foresight. No, to be honest, it is only natural for even beings on the level of sacred masters to fail in predicting the movements of governing immortals. Thus, the reason I summoned the projection of the owner of heavenly punishment isn't because of divination but something else entirely. It is the knowledge I gained in my previous life, as I was becoming the Annihilation Flower. When I became the Annihilation Flower of the Sao, Tree Heavenly Venerable, I perceived that Hweol turned into a worm. Afterwards, as the Sao Tree Heavenly Venerable awakened me, I regained all the memories I had forgotten throughout my cycles. Of course, the memories of the 16th cycle still remain completely absent. In any case, what matters is that I regained all of the memories I had lost while facing immensely powerful beings. And among those memories is the true identity of the entity that had inhabited John Myung-hoon's body during the 998th cycle. Logically speaking, there is only one being capable of possessing John Myung-hoon's body and evoking such horror in Golden Shaking Bird, the owner of heavenly punishment. Without a doubt, it must have been them who inhabited John Myung-hoon's body. Back then, the overwhelming presence of the owner of heavenly punishment had completely paralyzed my thoughts, rendering it impossible to deduce their true identity properly. No, perhaps the more accurate expression is that my very origin refused to acknowledge it. I distinctly remember the attitude the owner of heavenly punishment displayed towards me while inside John Myung-hoon's body. It was unmistakably goodwill. At that time, the owner of heavenly punishment had shown goodwill towards me. I don't know why, but despite my rather rude and presumptuous behavior towards them, they neither tortured nor threatened me in any way. Considering this, I can only infer that their goodwill towards me runs quite deep. Of course, that alone is not enough to ascertain the true nature of their goodwill. So, I performed a divination. A mere sacred master's divination naturally cannot reveal the matters of governing immortals. But if it's a sacred master, it's possible to establish a connection. Hence, I connected to the owner of heavenly punishment. Shrouded in the power of the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens, created by the Golden Divine, I prepared myself to endure all misfortunes should anything go awry. After all, when facing true persons, one must gamble at least that much. Then, connecting to a single strand of the owner of heavenly punishments will through divination, I received a revelation. Although sacred masters rarely fall asleep easily, that night, I passed out almost instantly. In my dream, Zhongli appeared and stomped on my head with her foot, saying, "They will permit it, once it." When I awoke, the soft sensation of her foot was still vivid, so I immediately began preparing to borrow their power. The result is this. Hweol. The spears embedded in Baek Woon's main body seem to resonate. The 7-colored thunder spears resonate, as if engulfing Baek Woon's entire body. But that is not the end. Ugh. Return, return. I return to thee. Accept the Wolof the great heavenly punishment. The true persons, beings each and every one worthy of being called sovereigns of the universe. Each and every one crazily emits light and begins to transform into lightning. Pajik, Pakajijic. I feel the tips of my fingers gradually turning into lightning as well. However, the process is noticeably slower compared to the true persons, and judging by the impacted area, it seems that the lightning transformation itself will soon cease altogether. It must be because of the goodwill of the owner of heavenly punishment. I stare at the beings before me. The true persons, after convulsing in the cosmic space, begin quickly entering a dormant state one by one. It seems they are trying to endure the lightning transformation by focusing solely on recovering their strength while in this dormant state. However, apart from Baekwon, the other sacred masters Ja Eum, Ban Ta, and Hei Lin appear to be less affected than the true persons, as I see them expel the lightning from their bodies. Borrowing the power of the middle realms plays a part, but it seems the sacred masters themselves are far less vulnerable to the power of true immortals compared to the true persons. Pajik, Pajajijik. Lightning rides within my brain. I have long since passed the stage of thinking through electrical signals, yet for some reason, I feel excitement bubbling within me. I feel an inexplicable urge to torment the beings before me. I just want to scatter malice upon these beings who seem to be on the brink of death. Come forth, John Myung-hoon. Elixirs are scattered across the heavens. Normally, once the true persons have been reduced to this state, there would be no need to torment them further, but for some reason, I want to crush them even more thoroughly. And then, at my words, the star-shattering esteemed one who's been on standby, John Myung-hoon steps forwards. John Myung-hoon has already reached the mid-star-shattering stage before I knew it. He begins to exert his power. Kururum. A three-headed, six-armed lightning god emerges in the cosmic space and opens its three mouths wide. With it, the true persons who entered a dormant state to resist the lightning transformation begin to be pulled into John Myung-hoon's mouths all at once. In matters of lightning and tribulation, John Myung-hoon displays dominance comparable to that of Kong Min-hee. The true persons are struck with fear and engage in numerous exchanges of communication among themselves before they start fleeing, seemingly in an attempt to escape the surroundings. Woo-woo. They madly leap across space-time, as if trying to escape from the grasp of John Myung-hoon. But John Myung-hoon stretches out his six arms. Red lightning, heavenly tribulation. Indra's net. Kwajajijik. Red lightning forms a vast net, covering all of heaven and earth. The fleeing true persons, afflicted with the curse of lightning transformation, are ensnared in Indra's net and bound in place. They roar in fury, unleashing their attacks on John Myung-hoon, but all are blocked by the clear scale armor, karmic fire, and the absoluteness of the cedarwood painting. Kwajajijik. The true persons, twisting their bodies in unison, employ the divine powers they have mastered over hundreds of thousands of years, as well as their respective immortal arts and immortal treasures, and finally break free from John Myung-hoon's grasp. But by this point, John Myung-hoon has already consumed plenty of the lightning-transformed flesh of the true persons, cursed with lightning transformation. Kururum. It feels like I could fly. Exuding an aura far more menacing than before he absorbed the true persons, he smiles with a satisfied expression. That aside, it seems like something has taken root in your head. As he speaks, his hand stretches towards my head. Pajajijik. Something like a lightning bolt escapes from my head and is seized in John Myung-hoon's grasp. Only then do I feel my mind clear. Just now, my mind was strange. Thanks, John Myung-hoon. I shake my head vigorously. I thought I gained the goodwill of the owner of heavenly punishment, but as expected, the goodwill of a true immortal is, in itself, a misfortune. It's fortunate that John Myung-hoon noticed quickly this time, but if he had been even slightly slower, I might have gone completely mad and suddenly unleashed heavenly tribulation upon my comrades, killing them. As expected, borrowing the power of governing immortals frequently is dangerous. Even though the goodwill of governing immortals brings misfortune to us, I had thought that the power we acquired directly from them would be fine. While my phenomena extinguishing mantra was obtained as a fragment from the Salt Sea Supreme Deity, it's something I acquired rather than something they bestowed upon me. Similarly, the current Yun's play is something I acquired from the Mad Lord, and used to summon the memories of when I had seen them, so I thought it was fine. But in reality, it seems that something more is at work. Perhaps, from the moment the owner of heavenly punishment's gaze landed on this place, it would have been natural for everything here, including myself, to have been completely annihilated. It might be because of their goodwill that my curse ended with just this. I shake my head and look down at cedarwood painting. Once no larger than a single human race sky island, cedarwood painting has grown considerably larger over the past 400 years. Though it cannot compare to a middle realm, it now appears comparable to the human race territory. The completion of the artificial middle realm is now about 4,600 years away. The artificial middle realm plan is expected to take around 5,000 years. Once the artificial middle realm is completed, there should no longer be a need to dangerously project the existence of governing immortals or true immortals through history in this manner. Until then, may we endure without becoming corrupted by the governing immortals. I look at the remaining prophecies left by the true persons. Although all the true persons have all fled and entered dormancy, their prophecies remain. With only the remaining sacred masters, it is impossible to create prophecies about me. No, it may technically be possible, but it would require drawing heavily on the power of the middle realms, placing a significant burden on them. Therefore, it would be impossible to indiscriminately unleash attacks imbued with the same kind of absoluteness as before. At last, Hweol, having drawn on the power of the bright cold realm to temporarily push the curse of lightning transformation into the future, glares at me as if to kill. So, you truly intend to settle this with us to the death? When was it ever otherwise? At my question, Hweol grits her teeth and raises one hand, clenching the void. Tingle, tingle. I heighten my tension. Though the true persons have disappeared, I feel that the real fight is about to begin now. Let the stars of the nations hear. Hweol's eyes burn. She draws upon the power of the bright cold realm, weaving the light of all the stars across heaven and earth to construct a formation of star veins. It is a summoning formation. Kugugugugu. Something massive begins to be summoned within the cosmic space. RTOC. The interdimensional void parts its mouth, revealing the colossal something hidden within. It is a world. Hweol is summoning a part of the chaos realm region of the bright cold realm into this place. But that is not the end. Jai Banta, and Hweol also begin summoning portions of the true devil realm, purple gold realm, and ancient force realm with their respective authorities. The sacred masters of the middle realms are summoning parts of their own worlds onto the battlefield. This undoubtedly signifies their decision to fully unleash genuine true immortal rank authority. Do. A portion of the bright cold realm chaos region. A portion of the purple gold realm chaos region. A portion of the true devil realm ominous place. A portion of the ancient force realm deep sea descends into the place, blocking the surrounding starlight and directly colliding with the protective barrier of karmic fire and clear scale armor. The karmic fire burns, but does not spread. Instead, it flickers briefly before its reaction dissipates. What need does a world itself have for karma or punishment? Because it's not an entity, the karmic fire that punishes beings is useless against a world. This is a bit troublesome. The four worlds encircle cedarwood painting, completely enveloping it. In this state, it is impossible to proceed with the artificial middle realm plan, because the decaying corpse realms that I summon will only be devoured by the pieces of the middle realms. It's as if the sacred masters are to benefit at our expense. Kugugugugu. The four portions of the middle realms pierce through the karmic fire and clear scale armor before latching onto cedarwood painting and beginning to erode it. Although the will of the sacred masters cannot enter the area protected by the karmic fire and clear scale armor, the portions of the middle realms following there will pass through the karmic fire like a ship catching a fair wind. The karma fire and the clear scale armor remain in place, yet the portions of the middle realm press forward. At this rate, cedarwood painting will be entirely consumed by the four middle realms over the course of thousands of years. But I do not worry. The reason you didn't pull this out when the true persons were present must be because you feared the middle realms might be eroded by them. But, did you never consider that the middle realms might be eroded by me? They ignore my words and continue to erode cedarwood painting with the middle realms. No matter how much of a sacred master of true person level you are, no matter if you are worthy of being called a half-immortal, a sacred vessel is still just a sacred vessel. You do not possess the unique authority needed to erode the middle realms. At Banta's cold remark, I nod. Indeed, that is true. I cannot counter-erode them. The decaying corpse realm is of a lower tier than the middle realms. Just as water cannot flow back up a waterfall, a world of lower rank cannot erode one of higher rank. Perhaps if the difference was more somewhat balanced, like that between the bright cold realm and the true devil realm, it might be a different story. But, what does it matter? That is only the case when one lacks a specialized technique for erosion. Come forth, Hweol. I send a voice transmission to Hweol without letting Jai detect it. The ultimate weapon of erosion, bound by the leash named Ran, reveals itself at my command. Devour the middle realms. Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens begins to exert its power for our side. Chapter 520, Hweol's Origin, 1. The evil sacred master Hyun of cedarwood painting, who seeks to bring about the destruction of the universe. To stop him, the living beings of the bright cold realm have gathered once again in a certain chaos realm region to construct a building. No, to be precise, it's less of a building and more of a kind of structure. A structure made of massive rocks. The rocks are piled together to form a circle. At the same time, some tall tree race cultivators are growing high-quality trees in the area, cutting them down and adding wooden reinforcements, creating something resembling a fence. The megaliths forming the structure in a standing stone formation are so enormous that each of them measures as much as 3 li in size. Dense arrays of spell inscriptions are carved onto the surface of the rocks. Hey, go grab that thing over there. This way, this way. To build this structure, nascent soul stage cultivators from various races have been drafted to work together. It has been roughly 600 years since construction began. Approximately 1,000 years since the war against the sacred master of cedarwood painting began. Regardless of whether they were heaven, earth, or heart tribes, all kinds of races were mobilized for the construction site, using their respective racial abilities to transport the massive stones that would be used for the structure. Honestly, I don't see why we're the ones doing this work. A nascent soul cultivator of the leaf race, who is using a demon art to bind spiritual energy ropes to the rocks and transporting them from the sky, flicks their tongue out and grumbles. A nascent soul cultivator of the celestial dog race, assisting nearby, sticks their own tongue out and pants, tilting their head at the comet. What do you mean why? It's because the sacred master gave us the command. That's exactly what I mean. I don't understand why the sacred master is making us do something like this. To be honest, if the sacred master or the esteemed ones used their power, this kind of structure would be completed in an instant. Just why do we have to be the ones doing this hard labor? Now that you mention it, that does seem strange. And to be honest, that sacred master of cedarwood painting or whatever is called, is supposedly trying to destroy the world we live in. But, in my view, we're far from actual destruction. Do you think people like us will even live more than another 1,000 years? But here we are, doing all this work to stop something that might happen several thousand years from now. Does this really make sense? Hey, you leaf race idiot. We have to prevent the destruction of the world, even if it's for the sake of our descendants. Well, if that's the case, they could have just called us. Why'd they have to bring along those kids too? The nascent soul leaf race cultivator glances down at the chi building and chi refining cultivators below, who are working hard to contribute even in a small way to the construction. I can somewhat understand them summoning core formation juniors. But what help could these younglings in the chi refining and chi building stage possibly offer, dragging them all here for hard labor? The ones who are supposed to be the future of their races. The leaf race cultivator grumbles, annoyed by the contradictory nature of Sacred Master Beck Woon's mobilization efforts. Then, the celestial dog race cultivator, who had been listening to the leaf race cultivator's complaints, suddenly smiles faintly. Ho ho, now that you mention it, something just came to mind. There's a record in the scripts of the demon race about something like this. About the wars between sacred masters. Wars between the sacred masters. That's right. The sacred masters, who embody the very flow of this vast universe, no longer recklessly clash and fight each other with force like previous realms. Instead, it is said they fight by prophesying fate or manipulating the flow of the world. And we are merely a part of that flow. The celestial dog cultivator chuckles with a ho-ho and points down below. The cultivators of the bright, cold realm flocking to this region of the chaos realm. Working together here with a single purpose, building this structure, working then resting, laughing and chatting, and living this way. In doing so, causing their culture itself to flourish here. That very act is the sacred master's attack. It's such an abstract concept that I can't quite grasp it. Don't worry, as you'll understand soon enough. Ho-ho. By the way, why do you keep laughing like that? Ho-ho. Somehow, it does seem a bit addictive. Ho-ho. The two cultivators laugh with a ho-ho and begin speaking to others around them. Thus, the rumor of Sacred Master Beck Woon's cultural attack, which started from their idle chatter, spreads throughout the construction site in an instant. Kugagugagu. At the center of cedarwood painting. Above the glass cedarwood mountain, Seo Eun-hyun half opens his eyes. Ha-ya. As he inhales, the spiritual energy of cedarwood painting dries up. Hu. As he exhales, the spiritual energy of cedarwood painting fills up again. At the same time, on the reverse side of cedarwood painting, deep beneath the peaceful cloud continent, on the opposite side of the world, a cluster of light begins to bloom. It is the condensation of a nebula. A nebula bearing the name, Seo Eun-hyun, compresses itself, filling its core with light and heat. From the 8 directions of the condensing nebula, certain symbols emerge. Food, hey, wealth, wa, sacrifice, tu, Minister of Works, Minister of Education, tu, Minister of Justice, tu, Diplomacy, bin, Army, e. The 8 characters, engraved as glowing light, burn fiercely. At the same time, the cluster of light splits in 2 directions, breaking into 16 fragments. The 8 concepts that existed in the life of Seo Eun-hyun. The concepts that defined Seo Eun-hyun as a human start to break apart, allowing the existence of Seo Eun-hyun to expand from being a subject to a whole. Among the 16 divided symbols, those that fall below become chi, cheap. The 8 symbols below turn into pure masses of qi, shining brightly. Each one holds energy condensed to the same level as the heavenly lotus fruit Seo Un-hyun once consumed, so dense that, if an ordinary person were to consume one, they would immediately advance to the 4-axis stage. Seo Un-hyun manipulates the 8 masses of qi he has created, perceiving that he can control the heaven and earth's spiritual energy, as well as the living creatures within cedarwood painting in 8 distinct forms. Among the genetic information of life forms, in his hand lies food, wealth, Hweol, sacrifice, Thu, Minister of Works, Feng, Minister of Education, Thu, Minister of Justice, Thu, Diplomacy, Bin, Army, Di. He perceives he holds the authority to alter the history and information of these 8 aspects. The symbols that rise above become fate, Ming. The 8 masses, ambiguous in form, yet exuding attraction force, lie within Seo Un-hyun's grasp. Among the fates of the living beings within cedarwood painting, food, wealth, Hweol, sacrifice, Thu, Minister of Works, Feng, Minister of Education, Thu, Minister of Justice, Thu, Diplomacy, Bin, Army, Di. He perceives he can influence the fate related to these 8 aspects. Now, he can control how much sustenance a living being is born to consume and what nutrients they are designed to absorb. At the same time, he can decide what a life form will eat in the future, in what manner, with whom, for what reason, and under what circumstances. He has comprehended the authority of food, Shri. He can determine what kind of greed living beings will be born with, what shiny objects they will covet, and what things they will trade and exchange to feel joy. At the same time, he can decide how living beings will trade goods, the methods by which they will engage in commerce, and how their economies will develop. He has understood the authority of wealth. He can also decide the degree of talent that living beings possess. He can now control how large a vessel a being will have to accept heaven and earth's spiritual energy, and what kind of spiritual root they will be born with. Additionally, he can influence the success or failure of a heaven tribe's ritual. He has realized the authority of sacrifice, Thu. He can control the land and earth where living beings grow, determine what kind of spiritual energy will infuse their territory, and what strength and crops will emerge there. Furthermore, he can decide how the land will change in the future and whether the crops that grow in that territory and the cultivators who dwell there will remain or leave. He has grasped the authority of Minister of Works, Feng, in his hands. Next, he understands the authority to influence the comprehension of living beings. He can now influence the intelligence of all living beings as they are born. At the same time, he can interfere with the entire process by which living beings hear, see, and comprehend the world around them. Those who earn his goodwill will see their talents grow, while those who earn his malice will see their talents diminish endlessly. He has gained the authority of Minister of Education, Su. Furthermore, he has gained the ability to draw upon the absoluteness of the world itself. For the safety of the living beings in cedarwood painting, he can move them to places of his choosing, foresee the tribulations and calamities that await them, and manipulate the world's absoluteness to increase the thickness of the dimensional barrier for their protection. As a sacred vessel, sacred master, his authority for defensive battles have improved significantly. The authority of Minister of Justice, Feng, bows its head before him. He has also gained command over language, communication, and culture. Through the culture, language, and communication of living beings, he can transform the world. Conversely, by transforming the world, he can alter the power of culture, language, and communication of living beings. In addition, he can control how the culture, language, and communication methods of living beings will change in the future. This is the authority of diplomacy, Bin. Finally, Seo Un-hyun can now determine how the living beings of cedarwood painting will undergo conflict. He can control how they would fight and shape the intensity and flow of their battle. Moreover, he can even transform species through conflict, molding them within his grasp. He can roughly define how the species will fight and change in the future. This is the authority of Army, Si. Keying. The 16 symbols of Qi and Fate are sucked into the center of the nebula, into the light's core. TSTSTSTSTSTSTS. Flash. The world trembles at that moment, and from the center of the nebula, a fixed star, Hongxing, is born. The owner of that star, the being that resides within cedarwood painting. Seo Un-hyun clenches his fist in the center of the star and looks upward. Within the secret space of cedarwood painting, hidden on the reverse side of the peaceful cloud continent. There, he gazes upon the massive mandala engraved on the reverse side of cedarwood painting. It's accelerating. The reason Seo Un-hyun declared war against all the true persons and sacred masters was not merely because he is a madman. The mandala of cedarwood painting. It was also because he discovered the power possessed by the will of cedarwood painting. The more intense my battles with the sacred masters become, the faster my cultivation progresses. Now, having reached the mid-sacred vessel stage, he looks down at the fixed star beneath his feet and communes with the will of cedarwood painting. The will of cedarwood painting desires something very simple from Seo Eunhyun. Conflict, dojong. The more he struggles, the more he clashes with others, the faster his cultivation progresses. The more Seo Eunhyun observes the authority of cedarwood painting, the more he thinks it resembles Kim Young-hoon. Of course, unlike Kim Young-hoon, the speed granted by cedarwood painting isn't limited solely to martial arts. Young-hoon Hyungnim also grew faster the more he faced powerful opponents and gained quality experiences. Cedarwood painting seems to endow its sacred master with a talent similar to Kim Young-hoon. At this rate, I can definitely reach the grand perfection of sacred vessel stage within 7,000 years and challenge the entering nirvana stage advancement. Seo Eunhyun momentarily savors the omnipotence coursing through his hands. Now, he can mold every aspect of cedarwood painting's living beings like clay. It is even possible for him to play with a single life as though moving a pawn on a chessboard. No, it is not just the life of a single person. The fate of all groups and organizations in this world will now change entirely according to Seo Eunhyun's will. This is precisely the power of sacred masters, whose authorities within their respective domains rival that of true immortals. The erosion of the middle realms will be completely dealt with by Seo Hweol, who will instead absorb the middle realms into cedarwood painting. So there's no issue. If the attacks of the sacred masters are absorbed this time, with Seo Hweol's help, Seo Eunhyun's cedarwood painting will grow even larger than before, significantly accelerating the progress of his artificial middle realm plan. However, Seo Eunhyun's focus shifts away from such matters to something else entirely. Wawung. Above Seo Eunhyun's hand, the heat of the fixed star shimmers as it blossoms into the form of a flower. It is flower soul filling the heavens. Sururuk. Seo Eunhyun's flower soul filling the heavens slips into the darkness, flowing backward through history. Canvas of myriad forms and connections. Flower soul filling the heavens. Star Envoy's authority, Xingshu Zhichen. TL, Star Envoy and Sacred Master are written and pronounced the same way in Korean. The canvas of myriad forms and connections, which records Seo Eunhyun's history. The flower soul filling the heavens that became completed through Ryo was inheritance. The authority of a sacred master to read history within cedarwood painting. And the authority of Hweol and my subheart sword. Seo Eunhyun draws out Hweol's authority from within his heart essence and forges the subheart sword in the void, opening his eyes wide. With this, I can track it. Through Seo Eunhyun's near-omniscient senses inside cedarwood painting, the locations of Seo Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens are pinpointed one by one. Even Seo Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens remains unaware of this reverse world of cedarwood painting. Shi. All the authorities Seo Eunhyun spoke of flow into his subheart sword. Canvas of myriad forms and connections, flower soul filling the heavens, the star envoy's authority. And the subheart sword, imbued with Hweol's authority, follows Seo Eunhyun's will and slips deep into the soul of Seo Ran, who coincidentally had just been thinking of Seo Eunhyun. Payarat. Seo Eunhyun discovers a curse and an immortal art deep within Seo Ran's soul. One is the curse cast by the Yama True Lord, the chief judge of the netherworld, upon Seo Hweol. The other is the immortal art left by Gwak Am in the world of Punglai Island, designed to fix one's will. Seo Eunhyun's will reaches the depths of Seo Ran's soul, effortlessly bypassing the immortal art left by Gwak Am and arriving at the curse laid by the Yama True Lord. Pitch-black darkness welcomes him. Now I can reach you, Seo Hweol. Seo Eunhyun begins retracing Seo Ran's history. The authority of Hweol, the star envoy's authority, the canvas of myriad forms and connections, and flower soul filling the heavens seep into the deepest depths of Seo Ran's soul. You will show me your true story. Step. Seo Eunhyun takes a single step towards the curse of the Yama True Lord, located deep in Seo Ran's heart essence. Beyond this curse lies the very depths of Seo Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens. It is the place where he must have hidden everything. To bypass the canopy created by the Yama True Lord's curse and reach Seo Hweol's depths, it will take approximately 6,000 years. In 6,000 years, all of Seo Hweol's stories will be revealed to Seo Eunhyun. And so for 1,000 years pass. Ho ho ho. In a chaos realm region of a middle realm, which now envelopes cedarwood painting, the Seo Hweols, who have infiltrated the chaos realm region and assimilated into the relocated living beings so subtly that even the sacred masters of each realm would find it hard to notice, simultaneously burst into laughter. Ho ho! One of the Seo Hweols among them, In order to offer parts of the middle realms to Seo Eun-hyun, raises his hand and activates tainted soul filling the heavens. Chapter 521, Seo Hweol's Origin. 2. The world is being eroded by tainted soul filling the heavens. It is such a secretive erosion that even the sacred masters, who are the owners of the world, are unaware of the erosion occurring within their own realms. The full-scale erosion by tainted soul filling the heavens, carried out over 4,000 years. With that erosion, everything begins to laugh. Even the living beings with ordinary mortal fates. Even the cultivators walking the path of immortal cultivation. Even the supervisors managing the scene, and the monsters living in the Chaos Realm regions. All of them let out ho-ho, while staring at one place that it is the place where the stone structure they have built over 4,000 years is located. Towards that place, everyone laughs with a ho-ho. Pat it. At the center of the circular structure. Something is being projected there. Whoom. It is the image of cedarwood painting. The image of cedarwood painting has been reduced to a small size and is being reflected beneath the sky of the bright cold realm. As this image is gradually absorbed as a part of the bright cold realm, it fades due to the cultures and consciousness, lives and histories, as well as the fates of the living beings. However, the moment Seo Hweol starts to laugh, whoom, the fading image of cedarwood painting becomes distinct and starts to grow in size. It is not just in the bright cold realm. The same is happening in the ancient force realm, purple gold realm, and true devil realm, where cedarwood painting is currently being eroded. In those places as well, living beings have gathered in a chaos realm region, the deep sea, and other such places to construct structures, projecting the image of cedarwood painting at the center to integrate it into the bright cold realm. But at this very moment, the image of cedarwood painting seems to grow larger according to Seo Hweol's, well before cedarwood painting itself truly rises into the sky above the chaos realm regions. Ying. Bright cold realm, true devil realm, ancient force realm, and purple gold realm. The outskirts of these four worlds. The chaos realm regions are being covered by the authority of cedarwood painting, and under Seo Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens, they begin to separate from each of their middle realms. Originally, during the bright cold realm's invasion of the true devil realm, the vast cold jade eroded the true devil realm's devilish energy into the heaven and earth spiritual energy of the bright cold realm, transforming the true devil realm into part of the bright cold realm. Similarly, the energy of cedarwood painting is now eroding the lands of the bright cold realm and the other middle realms. It is a glass-colored flame. The glass-colored flame surges like a wave, engulfing the living beings captured for forced labor, and soon they are inhaling the heaven and earth spiritual energy of cedarwood painting along with its glass true fire. By the time the sacred masters of the middle realms realize what is happening, it is already too late. Kugugugugu. Cedarwood painting vibrates and begins to tear apart the chaos realm regions of each middle realm, as if a predator is ripping into chunks of flesh. Chwereric. From cedarwood painting, thousands of candle dragons emerge. Shrouded in glass true fire, they embed spiritual jade known as cedarwood advancing jade, into various places. Just like with the vast cold jade, the cedarwood advancing jades begin to completely alter and erode the heaven and earth spiritual energy and spirit veins of the bright cold realm from their very roots. And then, in an instant, kadoodadoo, earthquakes sweep across the chaos realm regions of each middle realm. Baek-woon, enraged, forges a spear from clouds and hurls it at cedarwood painting. Hei-lin crushes the armrest of the dragon throne, stirring the deep sea. Ban-ta, glowing furiously, unleashes a beam of light from his mouth. Ja-eum, expression serious, seems to be deep in thought about something. However, none of them can stop cedarwood painting's erosion of the middle realms. Without even rats or birds knowing, an immortal art that erodes everything by the time one notices. That is precisely tainted soul filling the heavens. Shichikachichi. Parts of the middle realms are torn away by cedarwood painting, and amidst the sacred master's wrath, cedarwood painting sacred master Seo Eun-hyun smiles. At last, it is complete. Kugugugugu. Portions of the middle realms. And 2,800 worlds of decaying corpse realms. After nearly 5,000 years, a portion of Seo Eun-hyun's plan has finally come to fruition. The artificial middle realm plan. Devised based on the liberation law talent of Kim Yun, a human-made middle realm. Though it remains far inferior in absoluteness compared to a true middle realm, and much more fragile and crude, its weight class has now reached a point where it can no longer be dismissed. Woo-wong. At the center of cedarwood painting, now using the vastly increased weight class of cedarwood painting, Seo Eun-hyun leaps to the next stage of the plan. Flash. Seo Eun-hyun's fixed star, having reached the end of its lifespan, begins to dim with light gradually fading. However, its volume starts to expand. From the center of the fixed star, Seo Eun-hyun half opens his eyes. Correctness. At his single utterance, the light of the entire cedarwood painting transforms. The light, which had previously shone down uniformly, now intensifies with even greater brilliance. Seo Eun-hyun recalls the years that have passed, the 4,000 years after reaching the mid-sacred vessel stage, when he obtained the authority of the 8 paths and used it to desperately resist the erosion of the 4 middle realms. Now, those years are behind him. And with those years, through refining his abilities, he has also fully grasped the formula of the mid-sacred vessel stage, the formula of correctness and straightforwardness, Zhengzhi. If the formulae of the early sacred vessel stage, year, month, yet, day, hour, calendar, are about evenly distributing the world's light, then the mid-stage formula of correctness and straightforwardness is about letting the light shine down upon the world correctly and straightforwardly. The authority of a sacred vessel sacred master is derived entirely from light, the authority of the 8 paths they wield. In other words, the ability to freely manipulate the 8 concepts of the world they inhabit originates entirely from the power of light. Thus, to grow as a sacred master means to grow one's ability to wield light. I'm almost there. Light is an indispensable existence for life. To living beings, light is everything. It is both a blessing and grace, a guide that helps countless living beings continue surviving in this world. That is why sacred masters gain the authority to control the lives of living beings in exchange for providing them with light. Seo Eun-hyun perceives that because he has been correctly and straightforwardly supplying light, he can now correctly and straightforwardly seize control over the fate of cedarwood painting. Now it's time for the late sacred vessel stage, strong rule, Gongkirk. The formula for strong rule is to supply light strongly. By strongly supplying the living beings of cedarwood painting with light, grace, and blessings, he can in return obtain an even stronger authority to forcefully control their lives. This is the cultivation of the late sacred vessel stage. To control someone's fate and history, one must first bestow grace upon them. Because it becomes possible to strongly control one's world even more forcefully from the late sacred vessel stage, the precision of one's control over the world increases considerably. While even more actively bestowing cedarwood painting with light, blessings, and good fortune, Seo Eun-hyun opens his eyes. Cedarwood painting, which has been turned into a vast middle realm by Hweol, feels like it's firmly within the palm of his hand. Only one step to the grand perfection sacred vessel stage. But I can do it even now. Seo Eun-hyun's eyes gleam. Generally, it is standard to reach a realm's grand perfection before progressing to the next realm. However, a standard is just a standard. It is possible to advance to the next realm directly from the late stage. At the late Qi building stage, it is possible to challenge the golden core stage directly because one has already created 21 stars, completing 3/4 of the heavenly sphere diagram necessary to lay the foundation for the golden core. At the late core formation stage, it is possible to directly challenge the nascent soul stage because one has already completely taken control of their body's spiritual energy and thoroughly made their entire selves into an altar. At the late nascent soul stage, it is also possible to challenge the heavenly being stage because the 5 elements have already been added to the yin-yang spirit. For the heavenly being stage, even without the formulas of acceptance at fate's end or the vast cold heavenly circle, it is possible to progress to the next realm because the cycle of spring, summer, autumn, and winter has already been completed. Similarly, for the late 4-axis stage, the completion of the 4-axis canopy allows for advancement to the integration stage without issue. In truth, for every realm, even without achieving grand perfection, it is possible to progress to the next realm during the late stage, though the success rate will be significantly lower. If combined with the power of cedarwood painting, it's possible to immediately challenge the entering nirvana stage. Furthermore, Seo Eun-hyun smiles faintly. He has broken through an insane level of difficulty to reach the sacred vessel stage through heaven and earth dual cultivation. Thus, even if he reaches the entering nirvana stage as a heaven tribe or earth tribe, the remaining path would still be in the sacred vessel stage. This means that, even after reaching the entering nirvana stage, he would still be able to cultivate as a sacred master, making him a one-of-a-kind existence within the sun and moon heavenly domain. If I reach the entering nirvana bind with the authority of cedarwood painting, I'll be able to touch the plane of fate. Just as the other true persons had done by combining their powers, Seo Eun-hyun would also be able to perform prophecies. If I can just achieve that, my plan will undoubtedly succeed. It's not impossible. But Seo Eun-hyun looks at Seo Hweol, who had just helped him complete the artificial middle realm using tainted soul filling the heavens. Seo Hweol seems unaware of Seo Eun-hyun's gaze. No, Perhaps he notices but is pretending not to. I just can't figure out what that guy is thinking. Although Seo Eunhyun is capable of reading the thoughts of the living beings within this plane, Seo Hweol's true thoughts remain beyond him. This is because Seo Hweol's thoughts reside only within his most hidden place. It does not leave the deepest recesses of tainted soul filling the heavens. Aside from that, the only thoughts Seo Eunhyun can read in Seo Hweol's mind are those filled with trivialities like flame-grilled sea cucumbers or grilled eel rice bowls prepared by Oh Hi Seo. This glutton who thinks of nothing but food. Could it really be that nothing else occupies his head? Seo Eunhyun jokingly grumbles about Seo Hweol. Of course, Seo Hweol wouldn't hear him, but Seo Eunhyun does, so just in case. The bastard can't be trusted. The advancement to the entering nirvana stage inevitably creates a moment of vulnerability. Will Seo Hweol truly do nothing during Seo Eunhyun's advancement? Or will he attempt something? Not being able to know that uncertainty is the biggest issue. After pondering for a moment, Seo Eunhyun finally makes a decision. Fine. For now, let's challenge the entering nirvana advancement ritual. However, he decides to keep this a secret from Seo Hweol and his other comrades. He must complete the advancement to the entering nirvana stage in complete secrecy, without anyone knowing. The path to advance. The Earth Tribe path seems best. Advancing through the Heaven Tribe path is cumbersome, requiring numerous procedures. In contrast, the Earth Tribe advancement ritual, which focuses on explosions, and only explosions, is much simpler. With my current state, the time required for advancing to the entering nirvana stage should be roughly 1,800 to 2,000 years. Seo Eunhyun calculates the timeline and narrows his eyes. It will likely coincide with the time I reach the deepest depths of Seo Hweol's tainted soul filling the heavens. Whether Seo Eunhyun can successfully advance to the entering nirvana stage in secret without anyone knowing, reach the deepest recesses of tainted soul filling the heavens, see Seo Hweol's everything, and bring his plans to fruition. Or whether Seo Hweol will discover him midway and execute the move he is undoubtedly preparing right now. That will decide the outcome of this duel. I know what you're preparing right now, Seo Hweol. Seo Eunhyun's eyes glint. At some point, Seo Hweol began pretending to cooperate with Seo Eunhyun while secretly searching for the whereabouts of Oh Hi Seo's split soul, Seo Hi, which escaped from Seo Eunhyun's grasp. Seo Hi's location is already on the verge of being captured by Seo Hweol's information network. It seems he intends to use Seo Hi to connect to Seo Ran in some way, but Seo Eunhyun smiles faintly. It's already too late, Seo Hweol. Seo Hi is already nearly completing Seo Ran's tainted soul filling the heavens. Whatever Seo Hweol is scheming, he will not be able to obtain what he desires. Believing this, Seo Eunhyun splits himself into two. The flow of the entity known as Seo Eunhyun divides into three: Heaven Tribe, Earth Tribe, and the martial artist Seo Eunhyun. Among them, the martial artist Seo Eunhyun uses hidden heavens beyond the path on the Earth Tribe Seo Eunhyun. The existence of the Earth Tribe Seo Eunhyun reaches the domain of purity, almost vanishing entirely from the world. Thus, hidden from everyone's sight, the Earth Tribe Seo Eunhyun begins his advancement to the entering nirvana stage.